a swordsmanship clan that dominates half the world, the Runkendel lineage. A renowned swordsmanship clan where all members are born with superior physical strength and talent. They mastered the world with extraordinary courage, fighting, conquering, and subjugating. The three things mentioned above describe this clan in its entirety. This is where Jin was born, the youngest son of the Runkendel family. In the selection ceremony where a child's future is decided, Jin chose the clan leader's sword, the one who would lead this clan. Jin's father was quite pleased and expectant with his choice. He praised, "You have chosen as I hoped. The founder's sword, the symbol of Runkendel, how interesting." Jin thought his future would be filled with success and fame. But a truth shattered all his hopes. Does it mean anything? Jin had to painfully accept that he had no talent for swordsmanship. Around him, there were always countless taunts. How can a member of the Runkendel family wield a sword so clumsily? The shame of Runkendel, the disgrace of Runkendel, a person far from Runkendel's standards. The most pathetic idiot among all Runkendel members. While Jin was diligently practicing with a wooden sword in hand, Jin's two older brothers approached. Haytona taunted, "Hey Jin, are you swinging that useless wooden sword again?" Daytona chimed in, "Leave him be, I bet he won't use any sword unless it's special." They burst out laughing, the mockery evident on their faces. Where could that special sword be? Huh, right. Where's Barasada? Why is he swinging a wooden sword like that? Jin endured and continued his sword practice no matter how harsh the words. He gritted his teeth and bore it. Seeing Jin show no reaction, Haytona approached with a more arrogant attitude. "Hey, why don't you answer your noble older brother? I'm asking you." He became more aggressive and kicked Jin hard in the stomach, causing him to fall to the ground. Haytona stood above, watching Jin sprawled on the ground, looking even more smug, useless. Seeing this, Jin intended to pick up the wooden sword he had just dropped. But as he was about to pick it up, his other ol, while stepping on him, he told Jin, "Why are you so stubborn about that thing? It's useless." Their brother's foot stepped on his hand. As he spoke, he stomped harder as if wanting to crush Jin's hand along with the wooden sword. Jin gritted his teeth and endured the bone-deep pain without uttering a single word. Just then, Daytona found a book on him and laughed gleefully. "Haha, what's this basic swordsmanship theory?" Daytona crumpled the book in his hand and looked at Jin with contempt. "Hey, do you think you'll get better just by reading some theories about swordsmanship? That's why weaklings like you shouldn't get opportunities." Daytona held the wooden sword with a malicious look in his eyes. Seeing him about to break the sword, Jin screamed in fear, "Stop! Give it back to me!" They ignored Jin's pleas and ruthlessly broke the wooden sword. "Because you were given a chance, brother!" Jin screamed in despair. "Brother, wait!" Not only did he break the wooden sword, but Daytona also tore the book into small pieces. Forget your place. Jin could only sit there and watch them trample on what belonged to him. Stop. The two of them had completely extinguished Jin's hope, yet he continued to cling to it. Jin now sat dejectedly on the ground, looking at the scattered pieces of wood everywhere in despair. "You two didn't have to do that." Before Jin could finish his sentence, Daytona grabbed Jin's hair from behind and pulled it back. He asked fiercely, "What did you say? We did this for your own good." "Why do you keep talking back like that? Is that what your wet nurse taught you?" Hearing them mention his wet nurse, Jin retorted, "July, it has nothing to do with her." The more Jin resisted, the more they bullied him. "Look at how you're challenging us. It seems we need to teach you how to behave." In Jin's eyes, his two older brothers now resembled two evil and inhuman demons. Jin dragged his pained body, bullied by his own family members, yet he still struggled to stand up, resolutely holding on to his initial will. "Bullied by my brothers or this non-existent talent. I don't care about those things, I just need to try my best. If I try, I will surely be acknowledged by the clan and become a part of Runkendel. That's what I believe." But then all my efforts were still not recognized. On a day with blue skies and golden sunshine, Jin was still cruelly expelled from the clan. "Jin, from this moment on, you're expelled from the clan." Standing before the great gate of the Runkendel clan, Jin could only stand there silently and sigh. All his stubborn efforts and desires for recognition had ultimately turned into smoke. Because of his commendable efforts, Jin clenched his fists, his face showing clear unwillingness, but then what he still had to accept the fact that he had been expelled by the clan. This is how he was expelled from the clan at the age of 25 and began to wander aimlessly everywhere until he met his master. Jin then realized he truly had talent. Not only that Jin had talent in magic, something forbidden in the clan. 3 years later, in his study, Jin was still diligently researching magic connecting natural mana and the mage's mana to recover, then enhance the amount of transformed mana. While Jin was still diligently researching magic, a dark shadow appeared behind him. From this moment, the dark shadow flickered in and out of sight. By the time Jin realized it, he had been transported to another space. Everywhere was shrouded in darkness. Jin immediately became vigilant and quickly asked, "Who are you?" The tall, dark figure with a cold aura spoke, "I am Sordert, the Lord of Shadows. Jin, I want to make a pact with you as the God of Darkness. If you sign a pact with me, you will not only be able to use the power of darkness, but you will also have the ability to remove all curses." After speaking, the large dark shadow glanced and saw a sword-shaped curse appear around Jin. He pointed at it. "Oh my, you made a deal. It seems you've been hated by someone since you were a child. Your talent was erased by a lowly curse." Jin, who had been extremely surprised since being brought into the space, was now stunned on the spot upon discovering such a shocking truth and asked in confusion, "A curse?" The dark shadow briefly explained for Jin to understand. Yes, that curse is called sword illusion, a thing that devours talent for swordsmanship, a terrible curse that cannot exist in the Runkandel clan. The curse was a sphere sealing a sword within surrounded by countless iron chains. The entire sphere emitted a blazing red light as if wanting to burn the sword. The dark shadow reached out and touched the sphere, then slowly removed each section of the chain. "I understand now. Perhaps this is what attracted me to you. From this moment on, no curse can harm you anymore." As soon as he finished speaking, the entire sphere and the chains sealing Jin's swordsmanship power shattered into pieces and disappeared. Jin's eyes widened in surprise at the power of the dark shadow before him. Everything happened so fast that he hadn't even had time to react. After completely removing the curse for Jin, the dark shadow quickly left. "What's missing is for you to become a superior magic swordsman. Jin, it's an honor to watch over you." After speaking, the dark shadow also quickly disappeared, returning Jin to his original position. After returning to his study, Jin stood there in a daze for a moment to digest all the information that had just transpired. It took a long time for him to react, as if to confirm that what the dark shadow had said was true. Jin quickly ran to grab the sword, and then swiftly exited the door. He immediately swung the sword, recalling what he had learned, demonstrating a little. Indeed, as soon as the sword was drawn from its scabbard, it brought forth a hidden power within. The tip of the sword carried a whirlwind that swept everything around it. Just as Sordert said, every time Jin swung his sword, he could reach a new height. Jin practiced with gusto. It was a sensation he had never experienced before. "So light I don't feel any weight, it's like I'm just swinging my arm." Remembering the taunts from before, Jin felt energized and practiced tirelessly, the most pathetic idiot in the history of the Runkandel clan. Now, a single sword strike carried terrifying power, the strength he had always desired. Suddenly, Jin had a bold idea. What if I add magic? Thinking was doing. Jin immediately cast magic combined with the power of the sword. This was a terrifying combination. A sword strike swept through like a thunderstorm and all existence was erased. Seeing the result, Jin was quite satisfied. "Finally, my efforts have paid off." His joy was short-lived as the image of Jin practicing swordsmanship with astonishing power was seen by a troop of knights who were also secretly evaluating him. After a dizzy spell and fainting when Jin regained consciousness, what struck his eyes was a chaotic scene, and in his ears were terrified screams. "I just heard something screaming." Jin wanted to stand up, but his body was now crushed under a boulder. Blood flowed unceasingly, soaking the surroundings. Jin weakened, cried out, "My body is so heavy for some reason." Jin lay there helplessly unwilling. He had only achieved a little success, and now he had to meet King Yama so soon. He was not resigned. Despite this, he still cried out for help in vain. "Master Sorter, is anyone here? I can't believe I died in my sleep. Because after all, am I just useless? I didn't even have a chance to use the magic and power of Sorter that I received. If things are like this, why me given a chance?" Jin just like that went to meet King Yama amidst the ruins. Suddenly he blinked and found himself awake again. Before him were all the members of the Runkandel clan. He wondered in his mind. Members clan. What's going on? I'm sure I was dead. Around him now was a lush green lawn studded with countless swords. Beside him, July smiled brightly and comforted, "Cheer up, young Master Jin." He stared blankly at that smile and then wondered, "July, why is she here?" Suddenly, from a distance, Jin saw a glowing sword. It was much more brilliant and beautiful than the surrounding swords. He glanced at it once and immediately recognized it. That sword was Barasada. After observing the surroundings, Jin now realized he was currently at the selection ceremony. He had returned to the past, becoming the one-year-old Jin, the youngest young master. At this moment, just like in his previous life, he would still choose that sword. Jin crawled step by step closer, and then slowly reached out to touch the Barasada sword, the sword of power. Jin turned back to look at the clan members and silently resolved, "I have chosen the clan leader's sword. In this life I will make my own choices." Seeing Jin touch the clan leader's sword, all members of the Runkandel clan stared wide-eyed and agape in astonishment. How could it be? The Patriarch's blade, Patriarch Young Master Jin, has... Cutting off the buzzing murmurs, the acting head of the clan spoke. "The young master has chosen Barasada. The selection ceremony ends here. Take the young master to the Thunder Martial stage." 6 years later, at the Thunder Martial stage, the sky poured rain heavily, and thunder and lightning crashed down one after another. Inside the library, with countless towering bookshelves, Jin, still just a child, was trying to reach for a book, but his height was limited and he couldn't reach it. Jin quickly pulled a chair over and stood on it. He thought to himself, "It's been 6 years since I came to the Thunder Martial stage. According to the clan rules, I have to live here until I'm 10 years old. So, there are still 3 years left. How boring." While lost in thought, a terrified scream shattered the quiet atmosphere surrounding the house. Jin, startled, turned to the door and asked, "What's wrong?" The terrified maid, her face pale, collapsed to the ground. "In the young master's room, there's a dead bird." Jin calmly approached to observe, and saw a bird with pure white feathers, its belly slit open, its feathers stained red, with blood, looking incredibly gruesome. Seeing the bird's corpse, Jin frowned. He immediately knew who the culprit was, the only one who could do such things in the Thunder Martial stage. Just as he predicted, the culprits also appeared. As soon as they saw the maid's horrified expression, they sneered, "Ah, look at it. How pitiful." Seeing their gleeful faces from successfully doing something evil, Jin endured, turned away, and then dealt with the bird's corpse. "My older brothers." Daytona laughed with delight, but he also felt a slight regret. "Sick, the maid saw it first. What a waste." Haytona gave a malicious smile and chimed in, "That's right, isn't it? We brought it here for you to see. So, do you like the gift your brothers gave you?" Moved to tears, Jin silently looked at the bird's corpse in his hand and then remembered his previous life. These older brothers of his. I know they will become notorious murderers after becoming vanguards. However, these children not yet 9 years old would kill an innocent bird just to provoke me. Seeing Jin's silence, they thought he was scared and laughed even more cheerfully. Haytona smirked and stared at Jin. "Don't cry for real, okay? It's very ugly." Still seeing no reaction from Jin, they lost patience. "Hey, are you listening to what we're saying? So you mean you don't need to care about us because you've chosen the Patriarch's destiny? Huh? How can someone like you walk around without carrying Barasada?" Jin was gradually losing all patience with the two of them. He sighed. Haytona became increasingly mocking. He approached Jin to provoke him. Huh, say something. You're speaking too softly, I can't hear you. After speaking, Haytona grabbed Jin's shoulder and put all his strength into a punch, wanting to hit Jin hard. But what he thought didn't happen at all. Jin was faster than him and blocked the punch with a single move. Haytona felt Jin's magical power was too terrifying. He fearfully widened his eyes, looking at Jin as if seeing a demon. Jin turned back and looked straight into his eyes, threatening, "You brothers are too noisy. Shut up quickly." Then he quickly punched Haytona straight in the face, causing him to fall backward. Haytona was hit, but he still hadn't realized the danger, so he was still quite defiant. Not letting Haytona's foul mouth continue, Jin landed another punch, causing him to immediately collapse. Then he delivered two consecutive devastating punches, leaving Haytona unable to get up. Jin then angrily wanted to teach these two a lesson. "I've had enough. I can't take it anymore." A punch straight to the stomach lifted Haytona up, and then threw him straight to the ground. After teaching his two older brothers a thorough lesson, Jin comfortably withdrew the magic from his hands. "From now on, it would be better if you brothers don't appear before me again." Suddenly, from outside, a night guard entered. After seeing the situation, he immediately asked, "Young master, what's going on here?" Jin quickly hid the hand containing magical aura behind his back. Khan asked again, "Young Master Jin, what is this?" His eyes turned towards the two idiotic brothers who were beaten black and blue, lying in one place. Jin coldly glanced at his two brothers lying on the ground. They suddenly rushed in and fought each other. Obviously, Khan didn't believe him and asked again, "What, sir?" Jin turned back to look at him with an impatient attitude. "Didn't you hear what I said? They fought each other and fainted." Khan saw the wounds on them and thought to himself, "Indeed, even the youngest young master of the Runkandle family is a cruel person." Although he thought so outwardly, he didn't ask anything more. "So that's how it is." "I understand, sir. I will take the Tano brothers to see a doctor." Jin coldly ordered, "No need, Khan. My brothers need to go to another place." Jin then ordered Khan to drag the Tano brothers and follow him. "Follow me." Outside, the rain poured heavily, forming large puddles. Jin pointed towards a grave, intending for Khan to lay his brothers on it. Khan put the two children down but still couldn't bear it, so he asked, "Young Master Jin, do you really want to leave them here?" "The storm is getting stronger, sir." Jin stood under his raincoat, thinking about the outrageous actions they had committed, and he didn't want to forgive them. His face was expressionless. "My brothers need to understand the seriousness of what they have done." Seeing that resolute expression, Khan immediately obeyed the order. "I will respect your decision, young master." Jin didn't stay there either and turned to leave. After watching Jin's retreating figure, Khan realized there was some kind of energy around him. He was immediately very surprised, frowning in thought. This energy is definitely not aura. Could it be mana? If that's the case, then this is no longer a simple quarrel between brothers in the family. I need to report it to the patriarch. Immediately, Khan turned to call a soldier standing nearby. "Hey!" The soldier saw him and immediately asked respectfully, "Yes, sir." Khan swept a sharp, cold gaze at the soldier and then ordered, "Bring a horse here." At this time, Jin had also returned to his room. Looking down from above, he saw Khan hastily preparing a horse. He silently calculated, "He will report back to father, just as I thought." Seeing Khan spurring his horse to gallop like the wind, ignoring the weather and the storm outside, Jin thought again, "Khan is not only our night guard, he is also our supervisor. In Khan's eyes, this thing is like magic, so he definitely won't be able to stay here." As Jin thought, he moved his fingers and a stream of black magic appeared, like a thin wisp of smoke surrounding his hand. Spiritual power, the only proof of the pact between me and Swordard. Thanks to this power, I know that the pact is still valid in this life. Moreover, the curse immunity ability that Swordard gave me according to the pact helped me escape the winged shadow curse. Jin hatefully clenched his fist. The foolish child of the Runkandle family was no more. In this life, my life will be completely different from the previous one. The only thing left is to meet father. At this time, the sky had also begun to brighten. The storm had ended. Khan had also met the head of the Runkandle clan and reported everything he had witnessed. That's everything, sir. Karen Jin's father, after hearing the whole story, sat there gloomily. The young master fought with the Tona brothers. Khan, gather the knights. I will go see my youngest son. In the blink of an eye, the Runkandle knights had assembled. They were all the elite of the clan with an incredibly imposing aura. A young man respectfully reported, "We have summoned the 7 vanguards of the Runkandle family and their 200 knights, sir." Karen, sitting on horseback, looked at the cavalry. "All right, this time, the cavalry has also gathered a full complement of talented individuals." After a sweeping glance, he ordered, "To the Thunder Marshal stage." Because there was an order to summon the cavalry in the middle of the night, Mary, the 7th-ranked knight of the Runkandle family, asked doubtfully while walking, "An emergency summons. Do you know anything about this first? I just asked Luna, but I bet she doesn't know anything either." Mary yawned widely. "I was still busy fighting those witches." First, the 4th-ranked knight of the Runkandle family, walked while resting his chin on his hand, thinking, next year the Tona twins will leave the Thunder Marshal stage. Maybe it's because of that. Suddenly, he turned back. Maybe it's to meet our youngest brother. Hearing first, Mary was also quite surprised and raised her voice to ask again, "The youngest one, why?" First calmly replied, "During the selection, that kid chose the founder's sword. Remember, Mary then suddenly remembered. She exclaimed dramatically, "Ah, that's right." But then again, it wasn't such a big deal as to summon the cavalry in the middle of the night. But father returned here just for that. First didn't know either. How could one know what father is thinking? Luna, the 1st-ranked knight of the Runkandle family who was walking ahead, heard the two of them chattering noisily and immediately turned back to remind them, "Mary, first." Mary realized they were talking a bit too loudly and said sheepishly, "Oops, sorry, sister." Thinking back on first's words, Mary seemed a little unhappy. Father personally came home to meet him. Is that kid that useful? At the Thunder Marshal stage, July was adjusting Jin's clothes. She cheerfully announced, "The patriarch will come to see us." Perhaps he suddenly met his son. Jin didn't seem to care much and tried to say casually, "Perhaps so." Jin thought to himself as he turned his back for July to comb his hair. Khan probably told father everything. Khan is quite naive, so he probably wouldn't tell father that I used magic. He probably just said what he saw. July gently held the comb and adjusted Jin's hair. "Please turn this way for a moment, sir." While July was diligently combing his hair, Jin thought about why his father had come. The youngest son can use a power other than magic and aura. Father probably wants to come back to check what that power is, to see if that power or myself can become a useful asset for the future of the clan. At this time, the cavalry had also arrived at the Thunder Marshal stage. The large gate opened, and in front of it was a majestic line of cavalrymen standing in a straight row. A unified, resounding sound echoed, demonstrating the immense power of the leader. "We are honored to meet the clan chief." Karen strode majestically into the main hall, his aura towering. As soon as he entered, he ordered, "Bring the Tona twins out here." The Tona brothers were brought to kneel before Karen. He sternly called their names Daytona Haytona. The 2 children below immediately bowed their heads, not daring to show their usual stubbornness. "Yes, father." Before they could speak, he immediately said, "I heard you fought with Jin. Tell me, what did you do wrong?" As soon as they arrived, they were immediately accused. They stared wide-eyed in fear, frozen stiff. After a while, they reluctantly came up with an excuse. "We did nothing wrong. It was Jin who injured us." They still hadn't realized their mistake and immediately blamed everything on Jin. "That's right, father. That power is very strange. It's not aura. It looks like magic, sir." Seeing their father's eyes narrow into a line, they became even more eager to add fuel to the fire. "In our clan, using magic is forbidden." "That's right, father. If Jin uses magic, we must interrogate him quickly, or he'll find a way to hide it." Mary and first stood silently beside them, observing. Seeing the Tona brothers' act of crying wolf after robbing, they sighed in exasperation, truly foolish beyond cure. Not letting them continue to make things up, Karen cut them off. Enough. Listen carefully to this. He looked straight into their eyes and warned sternly, if you continue this behavior, you will not be able to survive in this Runkandle clan. Only then did they realize they had gone too far and began to regret it, looking at their father in fear. He no longer paid attention to the two brothers and ordered, call Jin out here. As soon as Jin entered, he saw the Tona brothers walking out with dejected faces. He understood. My father, Karen. He is the strongest and also the most ruthless person I have ever known, nicknamed the Genesis Knight, the pinnacle of demigods. Before being bestowed that title, he was just an ordinary person. However, after being titled, he gradually lost all worldly emotions, becoming a person who only knew glory and the future of the clan. So to father, those who have no talent for swordsmanship like me are just trash. Jin clenched his eyes shut. He had made a decision. But this time it was different. In this life, no one could look down on me. Thinking this, Jin felt a surge of courage to face Karen. He strode in proudly, neither scared nor panicked, but calmly faced him. Seeing Jin's attitude surprised everyone. They glanced at this calmness. Mary was also quite surprised and leaned forward to get a better look at the youngest son of the house. De first, seeing her nosy attitude, frowned, annoyed, and glared at her, but Mary didn't care at all. Jin walked into the hall where countless people were standing around. He calmly knelt on one knee and bowed respectfully. Greetings, clan chief. Hearing this distant form of address, Sir Karen was slightly displeased. Clan chief? You don't call me father. Jin looked up and explained, all my brothers and sisters are here. Many guards along with over 100 clan members are attending. So I believe that father came here today for official business. I think addressing you like this is more appropriate. Luna, standing beside him, was also surprised by Jin's thoughtful consideration. Karen also praised, very good. Jin did not become arrogant because of the praise. He remained humble. Thank you, clan chief. Karen got straight to the point. But today I came here for a different purpose. You can call me father. I will ask you a question similar to your brothers. Karen asked sternly, where do you think you went wrong? Jin clenched his fist and resolved. Yes, I just wanted revenge. As a Runkandle, debts of gratitude are repaid and grudges are avenged. Jin said this with a righteous expression, not feeling he was wrong anywhere. Mary also had some admiration for her youngest brother. True to her character, repay kindness, avenge enmity. Karen was silent for a long time, then turned to everyone and said, here besides the youngest son, everyone else leave. Just one sentence from Karen caused a stir among everyone. Young master, did he pass the clan chief's test? A general, seeing everyone gossiping too much, reminded them, the clan chief has given the order. Don't delay anymore. Immediately the soldiers lined up neatly and marched out of the main hall. Yes, sir. Mary also followed everyone out. The youngest son intrigued her. Confronting father directly? This kid is quite something. When only the two of them were left inside, Karen then explained why he wanted to talk to Jin privately. Father asked everyone to leave because father has something to ask you. The Tona twins told father that you have an unusual power. Our Runkandle clan forbids the use of magic because if you touch magic, you will no longer be able to reach the pinnacle of swordsmanship. So what power did you use? If you dare to touch magic, I will definitely not let it go. Jin was silent for a moment. Then he smiled. Yes, that is. Jin remembered the origin of the power. If father knows about this power, father won't be able to turn away because… Swordurt's power, Jin said politely. I don't know what it is either. I'm not sure if it's magic or aura, and I don't know what to call it. If father doesn't mind, I'd like to ask father to identify this power for me. As he spoke, a sphere immediately appeared in Jin's hand. Inside was a blue-white color, and the outside was surrounded by a dark, black aura. After witnessing Jin's power, Karen frowned, his surprise evident. This is the power of the founder of the Runkandle clan. Karen stared in surprise at the power sphere Jin had just created. That power, dark energy. Barasada's dark energy. Does that mean this child is destined to become the master of the clan? Under Jin's expectant gaze, Father he confirmed. That's right. That is the power of Sordert, the god of darkness. Jin still didn't quite understand. The god of darkness? Karen immediately explained, that's right. Sordert signed a pact with the founder of the Runcandle clan, Sertima, and has been on our side since then. But because Sertima passed away, Sordert no longer appeared in Runcandle. I don't know the reason for this, but it seems he is trying to connect with Runcandle through you. Jin asked further, Father, I'm curious about one thing. That person, is that god stronger than Father? Actually, Karen wasn't sure about this either. He thought for a moment. I don't know, because I've never fought a god. Hearing this answer, Jin thought to himself, Father has never fought a god. That's truly the most arrogant answer I've ever heard. At this moment, Karen approached him, then patted his head with admiration. My son, that's a good question. Thanks to your innocent question, I just found a wonderful topic for conversation. I think visiting you here today was indeed a wise decision. Then let Father ask you another question. That power, how do you want to use that dark energy? And of course, not to disappoint, Karen, Jin answered clearly, I want to use this dark power to serve the interests of the clan. Clan Chief Karen, hearing Jin speak, frowned and asked again, For the clan, huh? Then he laughed as if he had a great harvest and said it was the most ridiculous lie he had ever heard. You beat your brothers to a pulp, then threw them into the storm. And then you say you'll use this power for the clan. Then he requested of him, Tell me the truth. Jin's hand trembled. Just as I thought, he won't let this go easily. So after a struggle, Jin had to say, I want to use this power for myself. But unexpectedly, Karen was quite satisfied with his honesty. All right, I like this straightforward answer. Then he left and also instructed, I will watch you very carefully from today onwards. After his father left, Jin finally breathed a sigh of relief. His tense body gradually relaxed, making him almost unable to stand. Great, I got through this safely. Being allowed to use dark energy as I wish is the best. But that also makes Father expect things from me. This is an unexpected result. This life compared to the previous one is truly a world of difference. Jin clenched the power in his hand and smiled with satisfaction. Completely different from my previous life. Before leaving with Father, Mary suddenly turned back and gave Jin a gift. Hey, youngest brother here, take it. Seeing the carefully wrapped box, Jin stammered, Sister Mary, what's this? Mary didn't give Jin a chance to refuse and immediately handed the box to July, standing beside her. Auntie, hold this. It's too heavy. July quickly took the box with both hands carefully. Ah, yes? Mary pointed at the box. This is a special gift from me to you. After handing over the item, Mary gave a mischievous smile and didn't forget to instruct Jin, cook it, chew it well, and then get strong quickly, understand? Mary quickly returned to the cavalry ranks. De first saw her return and immediately asked, Where's your luggage? Mary calmly smiled. I gave it to the youngest brother. So what? Watching their retreating figures, Jin wondered, Sister Mary? Why me? When he opened the gift box, a dazzling, brilliant golden-pink light radiated around Jin and July, who stood rooted to the spot because the gift was too precious. This is Phoenix Heart. At this moment, Jin thought, giving this to a 7-year-old kid, Sister Mary, is truly crazy. Speaking of Mary Runcandle, she is a Star Knight and the 7th Knight of Runcandle, also known as Wind Fury. She also has another name that not many people know, the Mad Woman of the Southern Territory. The reason this battle-crazed sister gave me this is very clear. Get strong quickly and become my opponent. If I eat this as a child, I will not only have fire resistance, but it will also be an elixir that will strengthen me as I grow up. Thinking about it now, the Phoenix Heart is necessary for a 6-star mage to safely summon a phoenix. In this life, I might be able to summon a phoenix. While lost in thought about the Phoenix Heart, July had quickly processed the heart and brought it up. Young master, have you been waiting long? Seeing the food already arranged on the plate, Jin said politely, Thank you, July. July placed the hot soup on the table. Young Mistress Mary gave you a wonderful gift. Please eat it before it gets cold." Jin was about to eat, but then said helplessly, Um, but before that, older brothers, if you have anything to say, please say it quickly." The Tona twins, hiding in a corner, saw the soup on the table and drooled. When they knew Jin had discovered them, they didn't bother hiding anymore and threw away all their shame to come out and beg for food. It's nothing. It just seems like too much for you to eat all by yourself." Tona chimed in. "That's right. I saw July carrying a large bowl, so—" Jean teased them with their way of thinking, "You brothers want to eat it, huh?" Hearing that, the two kids' eyes lit up and they nodded continuously. "Then listen to my request. You two need to do one thing." So, a moment later, the Tona brothers were seen digging a tunnel under the Thundercloud platform. They were diligently digging while complaining, Why do we have to do this? That's right. There's nothing here. Why do we have to do this? What will happen if someone sees us digging it out?" Tona dug with all his might. "What are you talking about? It's obvious the youngest one will be punished. What can happen to us?" Daytona thought his brother had a point. "You're right. We just need to eat that soup and it'll be fine. Besides, the youngest one is a bit scary." It seems they finally dug to the place Jin needed. This tunnel is directly above the secret room. In the middle of the room was a large glass tube, and inside was the body of a tall, muscular man exuding mystery. The Tona brothers dug for a while and then finished returning in a disheveled state covered in mud. July, seeing the two kids' appearance, also widened her eyes in fear. Jin was already sitting there waiting for them. "Welcome, brothers. You arrived quickly," they shouted gruffly. "Shut up. We did as you said. So, give us the soup." Jin acted generously. "I've put it on the table." The two kids immediately forgot their fatigue and ran quickly to the dining table. Really? When they looked down at the dining table and searched, they still didn't see any bowl of soup. Where? They only saw 2 tiny spoonfuls of soup on a plate, despondent beyond words. They looked with dark faces at the tiny bit of soup left. They were furious but couldn't beat Jin, so they had to grit their teeth and endure it. Is it too little? Jin indifferently ignored them. "I said I'd give it to you, brothers, but I never said anything about how much. But I kept my promise, didn't I? So then please." The Tona brothers looked back at the tiny bit of soup, gritting their teeth angrily. Thanks a lot." In the evening, it rained quite heavily. Jin quickly put on his raincoat and went to the tunnel the Tona brothers had dug. Standing before the tunnel, Jin exclaimed, "I thought they would do a sloppy job, but they actually completed it quite well." After a moment of assessment, he thought, "With this thickness, I think 1-star magic is enough. The wall isn't too big, so I can use magic to break it, because my mana keeps increasing and I can't do anything with it." He condensed magic into an energy ball and then directly broke through the layer of earth surrounding the secret room. With a loud bang, the obstructing wall was shattered, revealing before Jin's eyes the secret storage room. He was happy. "Finally, I've arrived Runkendel's secret storage room." Standing before the door, Jin thought, "In my previous life, I never had the chance to enter here, so it's quite unfamiliar when I arrive." He said, "I have to say the keyword." Jin thought for a moment and then smiled. Perhaps he knew what the keyword was. Jin immediately uttered a few keywords. "The child of Runkandel has come to control Murakan." And then the gate gradually opened after the incantation. Jin observed the room once over, Runkandel's secret storage room, used to store the secret texts of the families they have defeated over the past 1,000 years, and only the vanguards of the Runkandel clan are allowed to enter here. Jin exclaimed, "It's quite spacious." He remembered in his previous life an older brother had told him about this room and said that he didn't need to know about this place because he wouldn't be able to become a vanguard. Jin felt lucky. "But you helped me a lot, older brother." Thanks to that, Jin knew the key to enter. "Now I will make use of it." Then Jin continued to go deeper and discovered something strange. Before him was a man sealed inside a giant glass tank. "What is that?" As he got closer to observe, Jin noticed the black aura surrounding him. A few strange marks also appeared on his face. Jin guessed, 7 stars, is this you? Jin reached out and lightly touched the transparent glass surface, feeling the black aura inside. How can something like this? But then he suddenly remembered. Don't tell me. In the incantation when entering the room there was a sentence. The child of Runkandel has come to control Murakan. And if it's not beyond speculation, the thing sleeping here is the Black Dragon Murakan. It is said that the Black Dragon Murakan was defeated by the first vanguard of the Runkandel clan and fell into a deep sleep. I thought it was just a legend, but now Jin has seen him with his own eyes. But I never thought it was real. Then a stray thought. Jin put aside his thoughts about Murakan and continued to search for the secret texts. I don't have time for these things. Where are the secret texts? Are they here? And while he was searching, Murakan's body seemed to start waking up. A few small movements also began to appear on his hands. Jin was still engrossed in searching for the secret texts and finally found them. Found it. Standing before a large bookshelf, Jin was astonished and also a little excited. These are secret texts from all sorts of clans. Let's see. I'll check out the Kungan clan since they are also swordsmen. After flipping through a few pages, Jin pondered. It's quite difficult compared to 3-star magic theory. I want to take them with me, but it'll be easy to get caught. Saying that, Jin quickly took out a notebook and a pen. I'll copy them every time I come here. Early the next morning, Jin quickly returned to the Thunder Marshal stage as usual, obediently sitting and reading under July's care. Until nightfall, he followed the tunnel again to the secret room to copy the secret texts. That night, while Jin was engrossed in copying secret texts in the secret room, he suddenly heard a strange noise. Jin immediately stood up to observe. Who's there? He silently hid behind the door to observe the situation outside. No way no one in the Thunder Marshal stage can come to the secret library at this hour. A cold voice rang out. Hey you, who are you? Entering from the door was the Black Dragon Murakan. Facing Murakan made Jin extremely surprised. He stood frozen on the spot. Murakan? Why is Murakan? In my previous life, I never heard about the Black Dragon's awakening. Calm down. Since Murakan is my clan's guardian dragon, he might let me go if I'm respectful and act like a child. After thinking, Jin immediately showed an obedient attitude and answered Murakan, Child of Runkandel, greetings to the clan guardian. But the response was Murakan's furious laughter when Jin dared to call him a guardian. You call me a guardian? Jin fearfully watched him erupt in anger like a volcano. He roared furiously. Did you just call me a guardian? How dare you treat me like a common guardian? Damn Runkandel, you say that about me. I can't get angry at this little one, but I'm going crazy here. You're annoying me. After a while of anger, Murakan sat down and sighed. Damn it, damn it, damn it. It's been a long time since I smelled something fragrant, and the only thing I can smell is a child. Murakan approached. Jin sniffed him and then asked, You. Jin stood still in fear, watching Murakan scrutinize him. He stammered, Sir. Murakan immediately discovered, Why do you smell of dark energy? Jin asked back, Dark energy. Murakan frowned and pointed at him. That's right. Even though I've slept for 1,000 years, I still remember this smell very well. This special smell of dark energy should only be on people who have a pact like Tema. Jin immediately understood. The reason Murakan woke up is because of the dark energy on me. Murakan now resembled a puppy, sniffing around everywhere. Where did it come from? Here, huh? Suddenly Jin had a bold plan. So should I try it? Jin smiled. Sir Murakan. Murakan turned back to look at him with a cheerful expression. Oh, that's right. You know something, don't you? Jin immediately unleashed his dark power. Can you tell me about this, sir? My father said this power is from the god of darkness, Sordert. After clearly seeing the sphere carrying dark energy created by the boy in front of him, Murakan froze for 5 seconds. He trembled and shouted, Hey Sordert, are you kidding me? Are you serious? The more Murakan spoke, the more he broke down to the point of collapsing and crying without tears. That 1,000-year pact, is it this little one? Jin silently watched the large man before him, writhing and screaming. Suddenly, their eyes met. Murakan shyly bowed his head. Hey, little one. Jin answered seriously. Yes, Sir Murakan. Murakan felt like he didn't want to live anymore. You know, I actually made a promise to Swordert, and it seems the one who needs to cooperate with me to keep this promise is you. Jin stood silently in place. A promise with Swordert. Murakan seriously explained, I'll tell you the details later, but I just woke up now so I can't think of anything, and I don't think you'll understand because you're too young. But I should still formally introduce myself to Sordert's pact holder, right? After speaking, Murakan stood up and transformed into the shape of a mighty black dragon. I am Murakan Sordert's representative, his friend, and the last descendant of the first dark creature. According to the 1,000-year agreement from now on, I will accompany you. Jin's eyes widened in astonishment. He couldn't believe what was happening before his eyes. Accompany me. Murakan, in the form of a large black dragon, looked seriously at Jin. Tell me your name, Sordert's pact holder. Jin looked straight into Murakan's eyes and gave a victorious smile. He touched hands with the black dragon. Jin Runcandle, I am the 13th and youngest child of the Runcandle clan. The gloomy sky. The system's introduction of the black dragon Marakan Mount Marakan, where the wild winds blow, is named after this dragon. The black dragon Marakan ruled this place a long time ago, but 1,000 years ago, Marakan was defeated in a battle with Tima Runcandle. History records that after the Thunder Martial stage was destroyed, Murakan fell into hibernation. Jin pondered, but that's not the truth. But the founder's words about the guardian dragon. Those who make pacts with gods will cooperate with a guardian dragon, but because there is no information about guardian dragon Swordert, there are still many doubts. Jin continued to ponder. Can I understand that bore? Because Murakan was hibernating. Since Murakan has awakened, does that mean I will also have a guardian dragon? After thinking for a moment, Jin was dazed. Murakan is here? Murakan was cheerful. Oh, you're here? Jin awkwardly held the food. My nanny gave me some food to take away. Then Jin continued to think. Since I'll be staying with Murakan for the next few days, I should ask him a few things I'm curious about. And that's how Murakan awakened. I kept him in the secret room for many weeks. Suddenly, Murakan wondered and turned to ask, while munching on a piece of cake, why did I fight Tima, huh? Murakan lazily lay down on the ground. It was 1,000 years ago. How could I remember? Hearing that Jin was sure of one thing about Murakan. Murakan interrupted Jin's thoughts. All right, but is this all the strawberry cake there is? Jin sighed and shook his head. Stupid strawberry cake. And Murakan was still muttering, 1, 2, 3, huh? Only 7 pieces, Jin thought dejectedly. He's obsessed with those strawberry cakes. After finishing the cake, Murakan asked Jin, what do you do when you come here? Jin lightly touched the book and replied, I'm writing. I brought a few blank diaries and I write down what you secretly tell me. Murakan wondered, huh, really? So someone does understand a little, huh? Jin sighed. About 30% is still incomprehensible. Murakan waved his hand. Don't give up hope. For a child your age, it's too much. Other children can't do that. They're too lazy. That's just an ordinary child. Jin lowered his head and emphasized, I belong to the Runcandle family. This is normal for me. I have 12 brothers and sisters, but I also have parents and elders. If I want to eliminate them, I have to try even harder. Murakan, if he is the founder, how many of these books does he understand? Jin continued to fall into deep thought. If I compare myself to the strongest individual of humanity, how much am I worth? Suddenly, Murakan spoke, Tama, huh? I don't think he understood much of a single line in the book when he was your age. He sat down and lectured. But theory isn't always right. He didn't read books, but he still fought very well. You have potential like Tima, but you're not as good as Tima. What Murakan said shocked Jin, his pupils contracting. Jin wondered and asked, so I'll never become like the founder, huh? Murakan replied, no, huh? Those vague words made Jin not understand, and he had to look up. Murakan explained, you are Sordert's pact holder just like Tama, and you are smart enough to read those books. You're still young, so don't be hasty. Just practice really hard. Okay? Then he patted Jin's head hard. And you'll become as strong as Tama. Who knows, you might even surpass him. Jin turned sharply and asked, really? Murakami said calmly. Of course, kid. Do you know Swordert's nickname? Jin stammered. No, I don't know. Suddenly, a black hand appeared, grasping at the miniature planets in the galaxy. Murakami's voice slowly rang out. It's infinity. Swordert's power has no limits, which means you, his pact holder, also have no limits. So don't be downcast anymore. Have faith in yourself because I will teach you a new special move to make you happier. Then Murakami patted Jin's back hard, making him cry out. What was that? Murakami explained, release dark energy. Jin didn't understand and asked again. Release dark energy, the black dragon, Sir replied. That's right. All creatures that use dark energy must get used to it. So this is the beginning and end of dark energy. But it will be extremely dangerous if you don't learn properly. So learn slowly and seriously. Jin was excited. Okay, I'll do that. So, Murakami, what should I do first? Murakami pondered. You, huh? Well, first, you have to learn how to unlock mana. Jin didn't understand and asked again, unlock mana, huh? Then he asked, why? While asking, Jin thought, I've done that many times in my previous life. Murakami explained, releasing dark energy is unlocking and moving your mana. You must know how to do these two things proficiently. From now on, you will have to practice this for 2 to 3 years. Jin couldn't believe his ears and thought to himself, 2 to 3 years, that's too late. Murakami shrugged contemptuously. You don't even know the basics, so I can't teach you anything too advanced, you know. To be more precise, the next thing you need to learn is to move your mana. Jin held out the green flame in his hand and asked, Hey, can you teach me now? Murakami was completely shocked, not believing what he was seeing. He trembled. No, how could you do that? Jin said humbly. I've been able to do it for a while now. Murakami kept muttering. Impossible, you know how to move mana. Seeing Murakami didn't believe him, Jin demonstrated by moving mana from one hand to the other very provocatively. Murakami couldn't believe it. Oh my God. Then he sighed. Only a genius of geniuses can do that. You're a kid with extraordinary abilities, aren't you? All right then, I'll show you an example of how to release dark energy, okay? Jin admired himself inwardly. It worked. Then he gently replied, Okay. Dark energy originates from darkness. All darkness in this world is born from Swordert. The darkness is beginning to creep everywhere. So Swordert is the master of all darkness in this world, and Swordert's sole pact holder. Suddenly, a dark shadow crept under his feet, making Jin inevitably scared. The darkness grew even stronger, rushing in overwhelmingly and quickly. Then it gradually surrounded that corner. Murakami continued to explain, in other words, you can also be the master of all darkness in the world. So what do you think, kid? Murakami smirked. This is releasing dark energy. Jin was dazed and then turned back. A huge shock occurred at the edge of a forest. A large dragon collapsed before a silver-haired girl. According to the soldier who came to call, Miss Luna, everything on this side has been cleared, sir. We still have 5 areas to clear, and our mission will be complete. Luna turned back and said softly, Of course. So 4 wins are enough. Tell the knights to rest quickly. Luna's eyes fell into deep thought as if pondering something. A flamboyant sound of a sword being drawn. The tyrannical Luna, one more thing. The soldier, not understanding, replied, Yes, what else, ma'am? Luna asked, What does a 9-year-old kid usually like? Half a year after the encounter with Murakami, brother Tona left the Thunder Marshal stage. Daytona waved, We're leaving now. Let's catch up later. Jin replied, Yeah, take care. Then sinking into the void, Jin was silent. As for me, suddenly someone called out, Young master. This made Jin turn back confused, not knowing what was happening. July cheerfully carried a birthday cake. Happy 9th birthday. Only then did Jin realize and silently calculated my 9th birthday celebration. Jin was dazed and happy. Thank you all very much. July, can you share the cake with everyone? July softly replied, Yes, young master. While chatting, someone from afar called out, Young Master Jin. Jin turned back and wondered, Khan. Khan bowed deeply with a guilty look. Please forgive my sudden interruption, young master. Jin wondered, what's wrong? Khan replied, yes, well. A white-haired girl walked in with a stern expression. The closer she got to those beautiful long white locks, the harder it was for Khan to breathe. Young Miss Luna has come to visit. As soon as he finished speaking, both July and Jin were stunned, not believing their ears. Jin thought to himself, Runkandle's first-ranked knight, also a 9-star knight, the eldest of 13 siblings, the white whale Luna Runkandle. Although she is the strongest among the Runkandle siblings, she is not interested in becoming the clan chief. Therefore, she left the quagmire called the Succession War. She is truly a white whale, always solitary. Because of this, Sister Luna has never paid attention to any of her siblings. And the relationship between us should be described as a pond of clear water rather than a drop of kindred blood. That is the distance between us. However, that older sister decided to come to the Thunder Martial stage without prior notice. Did something big happen to the clan? If not, perhaps she found out I went to the secret library. Not letting doubt overwhelm his reason anymore, Jin wondered, Sister Luna? Luna softly and gently replied, You've grown up a lot, little one. Jin was shy. If I had known, I would have dressed more neatly to meet you. Luna felt like she was melting. Such cute words. Do I still need to announce when visiting my youngest brother, hearing her say that Jin couldn't believe his ears? Luna felt pity. But you look tired and unwell, don't you? Then she gently bent down and placed her hand on his shoulder to look at Jin more clearly. Jin, startled, replied, no. Actually, I'm just a little nervous, ma'am. Luna asked again. Are you restless? Luna fell into dark contemplation. The tradition of Runkandle is that siblings must watch out for each other, even trample on each other. Does Jin think I came here to test him? Then suddenly Luna tightly grasped her own iron-armored hand. Then she fell silent, not knowing how to face Jin. Luna finally replied, Yes, it seems I lacked consideration, huh? Jin looked up, confused. Yes, ma'am. Luna said this fondly. You may still be young, but I forgot that you are the youngest son of the Runkandle clan. Regretfully, she replied, Sorry. Not stopping there, Luna even knelt down to show more sincerity. A little Jin, huh? I have something to tell you privately. Can you dismiss the wet nurse and the guard for a moment? She asked with an extremely gentle expression. Jin pondered. She wants to talk to me privately, huh? Not keeping her waiting, Jin replied immediately. Yes, sister. But his train of thought didn't end. Although I don't know the reason, it doesn't seem like bad news. Luna said gently, Jin, my youngest brother, the reason I suddenly came to see you like this is because I need to tell you a few things. Jin replied, What is it, ma'am? Luna recalled and replied, When father visited you last time, your behavior attracted the attention of all the other children. It means that when you leave the Thunder Martial stage, all your siblings will keep an eye on you. Then Luna gently placed her hand on Jin's. Then Luna became more serious. But little one, I hope you won't lose your own happiness by participating in the clan's battle. I sincerely hope you won't be hurt by the Runkandle clan's traditions. Jin was shocked, not quite understanding what she was saying. Then he explained to himself, the reason she gave up the position of clan chief is that simple. If she didn't want me involved in the rivalry of the siblings, why didn't she ever warn me in my previous life, not even once? Is it because I'm not worth talking to? Or because the other children don't see me as a rival? Jin replied, Sister Luna, I really appreciate what you said, but I have absolutely no intention of staying out of this fight. Luna was serious. Jin, I'm serious. I'm not saying that just because I think you'll have to face me. Jin replied, I know, sister, but I've been through an assassination attempt. Hearing Jin say that, Luna's face darkened and she asked, What? Jin continued, That's why I absolutely cannot escape this struggle. Luna exuded dark power and demanded, Who dares? Who dares do that right in the Thunder Martial stage? A wave of anger enveloped Jin's room. His sister seemed to go mad as she interrogated. Who was so bold as to want to kill you in this place? Tell me quickly, Jin, who wants to kill you? Jin, frightened, replied, I can't confirm that information. I mean, to be fair, I haven't been able to find out the identity of that person yet. On the other hand, although they want to eliminate me, look, I'm fine, sister. Luna tightly gripped his two arms with force. Jin. Calming down, Jin continued, not all siblings hate me. Thank you for letting me know that. I feel happy from the bottom of my heart. Luna was sad. Jin, my little brother. Then she hugged him tightly, making Jin unable to believe what was happening before his eyes. Luna was in pain. That means you've gotten involved in this quagmire of family warfare. It makes me very heartbroken. Jin also hugged her back, but couldn't help thinking, I didn't expect Sister Luna to be such a warm person. Then he gently patted Luna's shoulder. Don't be sad. After a moment immersed in sadness, Luna patted Jin's head and said, yes, today is a good occasion. We shouldn't talk about these things. Today is your birthday. I actually came here to give you a gift. Luna slowly took out a small wooden box from her pocket. Here. Then Luna opened the wooden box and inside appeared an extremely exquisite green necklace. Jin was astonished. A necklace, Luna said. Can you sit with your back to me? Jin also politely replied, yes, sister. Luna said gently, if at some point you encounter something you can't solve on your own, then break the green gem on this necklace. At that moment, no matter where you are, I will come right to your side. So remember to always wear it. Happy 9th birthday, Jin. Jin was moved. Thank you, sister. After that, July brought a newly cut cake to Luna. The two siblings intimately fed each other cake. July was moved by such a warm scene of sibling affection. After eating cake for a while, Luna left. It's late, I have to go. Jin said cheerfully, yes, take care, sister. Murakhan waited expectantly. Hey, you're here? My what's that wrapped around your neck? Jin replied, it's my birthday present. Murakhan trembled and pointed at the pendant. That person must love you very much to give you something like that. Jin, not knowing, asked, what is it? Murakhan was serious. The relic of the Demon King organ. Over 1,000 years ago, countless people risked their lives just to get one of his relics. Jin asked, is it that magical? Murakhan replied, of course. It provides the wearer with the ability to resist magical attacks from 5-star and below, as well as increasing the wearer's magical power. I guess it also has summoning abilities. Seeing this, Jin said, you know a lot about it, huh? Murakhan tilted his head and replied, well, that's because we lived in the same era. He was very famous. And this thing belongs to the one with powerful energy, right? Jin handed the cake to Murakhan and then replied, yes, my eldest sister dropped by. Wait a minute, you sensed her energy from all the way here? Murakhan replied, exactly. Your sister must have sensed me too. Hearing that, Jin was startled and asked loudly, what? I mean, she won't tell the clan, right? Murakhan said, you're worrying for nothing. She's the one who gave you that precious gift. Would she really report it and leave you to die? Jin was naive. Is that so? Murakhan explained. Yes, 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 you can trust that, sister. Somewhere Luna also sensed it. I'm pretty sure I can sense an unprecedented source of energy. If the little one is planning something? Meanwhile, Murakhan tasted the cake and it was so delicious he wanted to cry. Is this the taste of heaven? This left Jin speechless. Luna continued her internal monologue. I should pretend I don't know anything. Just remember one thing, Jin, my brother, no matter what you do, no matter what you become, I will always be on your side. The time at the Storm Castle, which I thought was boring, has brought me many things, recognition and expectations from my father. The phoenix heart I received from Mary, the relationship with Luna, and even the encounter with Murakhan the Dragon Warrior. These are things I didn't even dare to dream of in my previous life. Now I'm 10 years old, superior strength. I'm prepared to leave the Storm Castle and go to the main castle. A scene of two people fiercely dueling a large explosion. Jin quickly rushed at the opponent like a storm. Their hands collided. Khan thought, as expected, it's not hard to understand why the clan head cares about him. Although I'm the one evaluating when practicing with others. His eyes seem to say that he's the one evaluating my teaching ability. Khan, let's stop here for today. Jin, okay? Suddenly someone called out, young Master Jin. Jin wiped his sweat and turned around. What do you have a problem with today's training session? Khan bowed his head. It has been my greatest honor to teach you until now. Soon, you will leave the Storm Castle, but I promise to strive to teach you as best as I can until the very end. Jin was satisfied. Okay. Thanks for taking care of me until then. Jin was playing with fire under the candlelight. He touched through the fire without fear of heat. Jin was satisfied. Finally. Then someone called, "Young Master." It was July. She was hot. "Oh my, isn't it hot?" Jin was embarrassed. It's just like warm water. I'm glad that young Miss Mary's gift is starting to take effect. July bent down. I've only heard about the Phoenix Heart, but I've never seen its effects. It's truly magical. Jin, me too. Then he fell into deep thought. I've absorbed half of its medicinal power. I'll absorb it all in a few more years. July smiled and walked out of the room. Young Master, we will leave the castle early tomorrow morning, so please let me know beforehand if you need anything. Jin, okay. As July was walking, she saw two strange books. July spoke up. Young Master, should I wrap these books? Jin, yes, I'll read them on the carriage. July turned around. Understood, sir. Is there anything else? Jin, just those books are enough. July kept muttering, understood. I'll prepare strawberry cakes for your snack, sir. Jin stammered, oh well, that's fine too. July, I'll go for a walk for a bit. July was surprised. What? At this time, sir. Jin, sorry, I'll be back. Jin peeked in. Murakhan. Hey, you're back, kid. Jin approached. Do you remember I'm leaving the castle tomorrow? Murakhan replied. Of course. You don't know how long I've waited for this day. Jin, so how do you plan to go? Murakhan was cheerful. Don't make a big deal out of it. I'm the legendary Black Dragon, you know. Even if I've become weaker, this is nothing. I'll take a path where no one will notice me. Jin, you've become weak. Why didn't you tell me something so important? Murakhan, little brat, how could I be okay after sleeping for so many years? Jin wondered, so can you recover your strength? Murakhan, of course. You will become stronger than me. Because I'm your dragon guardian, so hurry up and become a magic swordsman like Tima. Jin, you said Runkandel used to be a family of magic swordsmen, right? Actually, that's what Jin heard from Swordard in his previous life. The Runkandel clan originated as a clan of magic swordsmen, and the founding clan head, Tima Runkandel, was the strongest magic swordsman in history. Almost no one knows this truth. Murakhan replied, the reason the Runkandel family gave up magic and pursued the pinnacle of swordsmanship is due to an oath established 1,000 years ago. Even though I am the clan's guardian, I'm sure they would be very uncomfortable if I appeared. If it were 1,000 years ago, both you and I would be revered for bringing the noblest existence to this world. Jin was confused. Runkandel really will. Murakhan smiled brightly. I think it's too absurd. Anyway, I'll hide well, so don't worry. Jin, all right. So what are you going to do with it? Someone will find out when they come to the library and see nothing there. Murakhan replied, I can only cast illusions with dragon magic. Jin was worried. What if even the illusion seen is discovered? Murakhan was angry. Hey, I'm a shadow dragon, you know. Things like illusions are easy, don't worry. As I said, I haven't fully recovered my strength, so the illusion won't last long. Murakhan was serious. But I'll try to keep it as long as possible when I can fully recover. Jin said cheerfully, all right, thank you. Murakhan was moved. I would appreciate it if you respected me more because you are very good, Jin rummaged. Oh, actually today I brought a few special things. Murakhan wondered. A few special things, huh? Jin took out cakes made from the first strawberries of this color and wine I brewed myself. Murakhan was surprised. What? Jin warned, don't get drunk and create strange illusions. Murakhan was like a child. What have you brought, you kind little boy? Raising you really wasn't a waste of effort, huh? Why don't you introduce yourself to the nanny? Jin hesitated. I'll consider that. July was careful. Young master, you can't expect a comfortable life. Just like the storm castle in the main castle, of course, you've practiced very hard. But it will be even harsher when you go to the main castle and you'll be busier. I won't be able to make cakes for you when you want anymore, Jin comforted. Don't worry, I know. I will also try my best at the main castle. July knelt down, her hand on her chest. Yes, I will also dedicate myself entirely to you. Someone approached. Young master? Two knights spoke at the same time. Knight guards Jerome and host, welcome young master Jin. We will escort you safely to the Garden of Swords. Jin, all right, I'll rely on you brothers then. Let's go. The group began to move. October 30th, 1790. I'm finally leaving the castle. The sound of horses neighing echoed to the sky to begin a new journey. Arriving at the main territory of Runkandel, the Garden of Swords, the carriage sped up. Inside, July looked out the window. It's snowing. It will probably flood the road very quickly. We have to quickly stop by some village and wait for the snow to stop. If the snow is too heavy, we can't use the teleportation gate. Jin said cheerfully, Okay. Suddenly, the carriage shook violently, causing both of them to sway. July worried, Young master. The knight outside also shouted loudly, Ambush! Please stay in the carriage. July hugged Jin and comforted, Young master, don't worry, it'll be all right. Jerome and host are 7-star guardians, and I'm here too. The assassins shouted, Get them! July was silent. There are about 20 enemies, seemingly mages and warriors. It's very likely there will be archers too. But perhaps none of them are above 7-star. Jerome and host are still in control. Hearing that, Jin found it hard to believe. Then he shouted loudly, Jilly, let's get out of here quickly. July was confused. Why, sir? Jin was serious. Runkandel's guards under any circumstances are not allowed to neglect the protection of Runkandel's bloodline. One of them should have stayed by my side. Hearing this, July also became suspicious. So you mean one of them betrayed us or someone is impersonating them? Jin replied, That's right. There must be weapons hidden in this carriage. We have to get out of here, July. July was angry. I understand, young master. Then July summoned her weapon with an extremely firm voice. I will protect you as a member of the Runkandel. If I do anything out of line, I hope you will overlook it. Then July quickly rushed out of the carriage, her voice firm. Young master, when we return to the castle, I will willingly accept punishment. Jin, now is not the time to talk about that. Go to them. I want to confirm a few things. July was puzzled. Confirm what? Jin explained, Those people they are fighting might be our allies. If they came here to kill me, they would have killed me as soon as I left the carriage like this. But this quietness is truly strange. July quickly understood, I understand, young master. Mukera shouted loudly. Quickly, go find Jin the Runkandel. Team 3 blocked the left flank. Jin as expected. July also replied, The symbols of demons and black spades, the Mateo Magic Clan, and the Black King Mercenary Squad. The person in the white cloak shouted, Over there, we found July McLaurin and also Jin, the Runkandel. That group of people shouted, Everyone prioritize protecting Jin the Runkandel. The red-haired person then introduced himself. I am Mukara, captain of the Black King Squad. We are under orders from the Runkandel family to come here and rescue Jin the Runkandel. Mukera gritted his teeth. Damn you! How dare you lay a hand on the young master? Jin thought to himself. It seems they are just imposters. If they were truly 7-stars guards, there's no way they would struggle against these people. The two were surrounded. July growled. Who are you? What is your purpose? Whose lackeys are you? The bald man sneered. Asking the obvious, you brat. Who has the time to answer some dogs from the Runkandel family? Huh. July was speechless and turned to Jin. What should we do, young master? Jin said coldly, Kill one of them. As for the other one, cut off his hand and bring him to me. After hearing the order, July replied, Understood, and dashed off. The bald man didn't know what was happening. July's eyes became increasingly brutal. A king sound like cutting a watermelon rang out. Seeing this, the white-haired man recoiled in horror as his comrade was slashed like a fruit. But before he could run, his hand was struck by a slash. That man stood stunned, the sound of a blade whistling. Then his blood spurted out. July's eyes narrowed. That man was terrified. A powerful kick sent him crashing to the ground. Only then did July's eyes soften a little. Then she gently grabbed his hair and dragged the white-haired man towards Jin. Mukera chimed in, "Your master seems to underestimate his opponents too much. To become a servant of the Runkandel family, one's level must be at least 7 stars or higher," Jin jeered. "So if you want to assassinate the children of the Runkandel family, you at least need to reach the 8 stars level, you know." The white-haired man, driven mad, shouted, "Stop rambling. This is just the beginning. The Runkandel family, your doom is near." Jin said softly, "I wish for that too." That sentence made Mukera standing beside him freeze on the spot. Jin, feigning innocence, said, "I have no interest in the Runkandel Empire. I only like the Jin Runkandel Black Empire." The white-haired man didn't expect to have met such a reckless fellow. "Bow before," the white-haired man shouted. "Zipple." Jin pondered the name. Zipple, huh? The renowned Zipple wizard clan that rules the other half of the world. If the Runkandel clan is famous for supreme swordsmanship, the Zipple clan is known for reaching the pinnacle of magic. 1,000 years ago, after the founder of the Runkandel family passed away, Zipple made a humiliating demand to strip magic from the Runkandels, and so magic in Runkandel was sealed. So for the Runkandel family, the Zipple family is a 1,000-year enemy. No wonder I kept wondering who would dare to act so arrogantly. "So a follower of the Zipple clan?" Jin sneered. "July, throw him somewhere. Interrogating him won't yield anything." July understood. The white-haired man barked curses. "You bastard!" Jin thought to himself. Of course, to the Zipple clan, the Runkandel is also their eternal enemy. The white-haired man barked, "Just kill me already." Jin still thought, "They have always been plotting to terrorize the Runkandels, however." This incident was probably not orchestrated by the Runkandel clan, but by followers acting on their own. Strange. No matter how good they are at disguising themselves, it's hard to fool a 7 stars knight. Not to mention that guy is involved. July respectfully bowed, placing her hand on her chest in a salute. "Young master, I have done as you instructed." Jin crossed his arms and replied, "Thank you, July." Jin approached Mukera and asked, "Earlier you said, you're the captain of the Black King squad, right?" Mukera nodded, "Yes, sir." Jin calmly looked at Mukera. "I was able to escape successfully thanks to you diverting their attention from me. When we return to the Runkandel castle, I will report your merits. You will surely be generously rewarded. Now help me set up a teleportation gate." Mukera placed his hand on his chest in a salute. "I will do my best, sir." Mukera looked at Jin disbelievingly, thinking, a child from the Runkandel clan, how could he wander outside the castle for so long? He's only 10 years old, yet he has such confidence and maturity. Mukera thought seriously. Perhaps what the boy said earlier. He recalled Jin's confident scene. "I am searching for the path to open the era of Jin Runkandel." Mukera thought it wasn't meaningless banter. He really is serious about doing that. Mukera turned back and ordered, "You two? No, everyone listen up. Before the teleportation gate is set up, remember to be careful with your actions. Absolutely do not do anything foolish. Understand?" A brown-haired squad member protested, "What, sir? Captain? What an unreasonable request." The bald squad member complained, "Since when do we have to care about things like this? Huh?" The squad member with a headband on his head looked bewildered. Why did the captain suddenly go crazy? Mukera yelled, "Quiet down and do as I say." July turned back and reminded, "Captain Mukera, I think we can depart now." Mukera, startled, replied, "Understood, sir." Mukera placed his hand on his chest. "Then let's depart." While moving, Mukera asked, "We're just leaving them behind like this. Will it be all right, sir?" July replied, "It's fine." July explained, "Whether they are found alive or dead, that will be a warning to their comrades." Jin praised, "Well done, July." She replied, "Thank you, sir." July bowed. "Ah, they said, in about 2 NC hours we will reach a village, sir." Jin calmly said, "Is that so? I guess we'll have to rest there and wait for the snow to stop falling." Suddenly, Jin called July. She was curious. "Yes," Jin, understanding, said, "Don't worry about what happened during the escort anymore. It's not your fault. Even a 9 stars knight like Khan didn't detect it." Jin comforted, "A 7 stars warrior like you would naturally find it hard to notice anything unusual. It's not like I'm teaching you what a guard knight should do or anything." July blamed herself. "I'm sorry." Jin looked at her thinking, July is still the same as in the previous life. Jin thought to himself, with the responsibility of being a nanny for the Runkandal family, her fate is bound to the child she is raising. Jin thought, in the previous life July was my nanny. Jin recalled the scene of July being bullied by other nannies thinking, because I had no talent she was also despised and humiliated. Jin thought, but July never blamed me. On the day I was expelled from the Runkandal clan, July was also kicked out like me. And Jin thought, she told me, "Young master, I'm sorry I couldn't take good care of you." She bowed her head and said that to me. Jin bit his lip, thinking, I don't want to make things difficult for someone who has always treated me so well. But the current times are different from the previous life. July also needs to strengthen her own resolve. July clenched her fist slightly and said, "Young master, I am willing to accept any punishment for what happened, sir." Jin snapped, "Don't blame yourself like that anymore. This is an order, July." Jin turned back. "As long as you are still my nanny, then you are the only guard knight I need." Jin said, "If you keep letting those trivial matters affect you, how can you escort me in the future, huh?" July listened in a daze. Jin turned back seriously. "So don't make me repeat these things again. Is that clear?" July bowed her head in obedience. "Yes, young master. I will overcome this." July thought to herself, "To think the young master cares about me this much." She was resolute. Everything he said was for my own good. I must be more careful to ensure he is not harmed by anyone anymore. July encouraged herself, "Young master. I will do my best." Jin glanced back, sensing her mood, and felt relieved. What a relief! It seems she has regained her spirits. The door opened, revealing warm light and the words, "Welcome." The whole group entered an inn. The innkeeper asked, "How many rooms do you need to rent, sir?" Mukera replied, "Give me 2 rooms." Jin silently calculated, "Those people. And the fake guard knights too." Jin looked up thinking, if I'm right, it's highly likely that person had a hand in this. Jin visualized that large figure and silently called out in his heart, the shape-shifting wizard Booba Gaston. Jin thought, shape-shifting is the strength of the dragon clan. But even dragons cannot shape-shift perfectly. Jin thought, only Booba is the unique existence that can create perfect shape-shifting. He used that ability to disguise himself and commit various crimes to cause chaos in the world. Jin wearily opened the room door with anxiety. If Booba is really involved in this, things are gradually becoming more complicated. Jin thought, although he hasn't done anything too terrible yet. Before going out, Mukera carefully said, "If you need anything, feel free to call me." July replied, "Thank you, Captain Mukera." Jin sat on the bed thinking, in the previous life, when I was 20, Beaumont's special task force caught him. If I could turn Booba into an ally, it would surely be very useful. Jin frowned, thinking, but I have no reason to invite someone who pointed a sword at me to be my ally. Jin yawned sleepily, thinking, before Booba causes more trouble, I need to check carefully if anything has changed. Compared to my previous life then, July returned. "Young master, I will stand guard outside." Not hearing a reply, July turned back suspiciously, "Young master." She then saw Jin sprawled out on the bed asleep. Looking at Jin sleeping soundly, July exclaimed, "Oh my goodness." She smiled gently and kept quiet for Jin to rest. The cat's tail with its glossy black fur swayed back and forth. The continuous meowing sound from outside the window made even the sleeping Jin uncomfortable. "It's too noisy." Jin scratched his head, waking up drowsily, thinking, did I fall asleep? While the noise from outside the window came in, Jin stretched and thought, even though I practiced many times when I was at the Thunder Marshal platform. But as expected, this is still too much for my 10-year-old body. But what's that sound? He looked over, causing the black cat outside to freeze stiff like it was sprayed with glue. Jin was drowsy. The atmosphere was dead silent, as if a series of question marks ran through it. Then Jin, bewildered, widened his eyes and inquired, "Could it be that you are He remembered the time Murakami chuckled. It's funny, isn't it? I will always hide and follow you, so don't worry. Jin also laughed at that time. All right, I understand. Looking at the black cat outside the window angrily meowing and scratching the window, Jin shivered with laughter. You said you would hide and follow me. Did you mean turning yourself into a cat like this? Huh? Murakami in his black cat form angrily hissed, making Jin suppress his laughter and concede. All right, all right. I'm sorry, I apologize. He opened the window to let the cat in. It's just that I was a bit surprised because I didn't expect you to be in this form. Jin looked at the cat emitting black smoke. I thought you would disguise yourself as one of my servants. Like the horsekeeper, for example. Murakami transformed back into human form, angry. Hey, if I did that, all the knights in your family would notice me. Murakami was angry. Do you know how hard it is to follow you? His advancing foot tripped on a warped wooden plank. So Murakami fell flat on his face, hitting the room wall directly. He cried out, Ah! Hearing the sound, July, frightened and worried, burst open the room door. Young master, what happened, sir? She then saw Murakami squatting, holding his forehead trembling. July's face darkened as she yelled, who are you to dare follow my young master? She pinned Murakami down, raised her iron claws, ready to strike his face with murderous intent. Quickly tell me everything before I send you to your next life. Which damn bastard are you, huh? Jin hurriedly stopped her. Wait, July, this person is… Murakami heard this and couldn't believe it. July. This is July, huh? Murakami immediately stood up, his face ecstatic. Oh, my little cream puff, I finally get to meet you. Hearing this, July showed open contempt as if seeing a bedbug cream puff. Murakami, with a confident face, said, I've always looked forward to the day we meet. She was bewildered. What? Jin stood beside them helplessly, covering his face, thinking, it's all a mess. Jin introduced Murakami to July. First of all, this is Marukan, the guardian deity of the Runkandle clan, the black dragon Marukan. Then Jin turned to July, and this is July. Before Jin could finish his sentence, Murakami interjected, I know who she is. She's my precious cream puff, isn't she? July bowed her head and spoke with a slightly trembling voice. This lowly servant of the Runkandle family apologizes for being disrespectful to the guardian deity. Please forgive me. Seeing July like this, Murakami laughed loudly. Don't worry. My little cream puff, I am very willing to forgive you. July asked with a slightly confused expression, Hey, Sir Murakami, may I ask why I am a cream puff? Murakami replied with a confident voice, Because you're wonderful, beautiful, and make perfect cream puffs. July exclaimed with a stunned face, turning to look at Jin. So he's the reason you request strawberry cream puffs every day. Amao. Could you sit down for a moment and let me explain? Jin said. July lowered her head and said with a slightly self-pitying tone, There are many things I don't know about you, young master. Jin looked at July. I'm sorry for lying to you. July replied, No, I always knew the young master's talent was amazing, but first it was magic, then the contractor of Sodard, and now a dragon. As a servant, I am just surprised and happy for you. July was now filled with curiosity. Jin replied, Anyway, July, you are in the same league as us now. The guild cannot know the truth that Murakami has awakened, and my relationship with him when he, at least for now, understand, July replied in a soft voice. Yes, young master, I understand. Murakami stretched, covering Jin, and looked at July gleefully. You don't need to worry, cream puff. Anyway, I'm always by the boy's side. July replied, Thank you for your kindness, Sir Murakami. July wondered, Oh, so then, the loud noise just before you transformed, is it over? Jin just replied, No, that was… just as he turned to Murakami and said he should be more careful. Murakami whispered to Jin, Don't lecture me anymore. I fell boo-hoo-hoo. Murakami suddenly stood up and laughed loudly. July, looking at Murakami's appearance, now felt a bit scared and turned to look at Jin. Young master, are you sure he is trustworthy? Jin, looking at Murakami's appearance, also replied helplessly, I guess so. To the Mateo teleportation gate. July stood addressing Mukera. Well done. Black King Squad. Mukera asked a cat, was it here before you mine? July continued, the Runcandle clan will generously reward your efforts. Mukera said, this mission is also a valuable experience for us. I am very eager to see the future of the Runcandle young master you're taking care of. Mukera wondered, but July McLaurin, I have a question for you. July replied, yes. Mukera said, a person as outstandingly talented as you. Why did you leave the McLaurin clan and become a nanny for the Runcandle young master? July hesitated and did not answer. July turned her back and glanced at Mukera. There's nothing important left to discuss. Mukera was embarrassed. Sorry, I overstepped. July replied, it's okay. In that case, entering the receptionist welcomed July and Jin. Welcome to the Mateo teleportation gate. May I see your papers? To the can of the ally who fester. Thank you. Ah. Everyone is from the Runcandle clan. The receptionist respectfully said, it's a great honor to meet you. Please follow me. We will arrange premium seats for everyone. We will be there in a flash if everyone can wait here for about 2 hours. Then travel carefully. July softly called, young master. Jin turned to look at July. July said, with a slightly anxious and apprehensive look, actually, as a servant I am very worried. If Murakhan is exposed or something, we won't be able to cope. Jin replied, you're talking about magic mine. Of course no one in Runcandle can do that. Don't worry, I know, so I will hide it well. Suddenly, there was a noise from behind and the two immediately turned around. Jin seemed to sense something. The golden dragon emblem, that is, Zippel, a young man with white hair, entered with 2 large guards. Jin silently observed, who is that? So familiar. This person is Veridin Zippel. She looked at Jin and spoke in a not-so-pleasant tone. I have a feeling I don't want to go to Hugh Fester today. Didn't expect to see these annoying rats here. July silently glanced at Jin. Veridin Zippel turned to look at Butterfly. But your cat is cute. Veridin Zippel happily petted Butterfly. Come here, good kitty, huh? Suddenly, the cat got angry and scratched Zippel's hand, making Zippel scream. The soldiers immediately shouted, young master, then turned to curse the cat. You brat! Veridin turned to look at the 2 guards. It's nothing. It's just an animal. I must have scared it. And drawing a sword in front of the Black Rukan house is useless. Veridin Zippel glanced towards where Jin and July were sitting. I was just curious, so I wanted to tease them a bit. But I didn't think there would be no reaction. I guess the youngest son of the Runcandle family is quite calm. Veridin spoke up. I am Veridin Zippel. I want to apologize for my rudeness a moment ago. Jin looked up at Veridin. Veridin Zippel. The genius mage is the one with the highest probability of inheriting the Zippel clan, is a role model for young mages. A person of ability and style. I once thought he could leave me far behind in terms of a mage's skills. Well, it was like that before. I didn't think I would meet him when I was his age. This is a very happy feeling, isn't it? Jin turned to gently stroke Butterfly. I also wondered what kind of person you are. It's good to know you're not entirely a fool. Veridin said, oh, how do you evaluate that? Jin said, even if you're just joking. If those guys draw their swords, you will have the experience of walking around Hugh Fester's house without bodyguards. Oh, and you might lose a few fingers. Veridin Zippel laughed loudly. Even your jokes are violent. Jin replied with a gloomy face. Do you think I'm joking? Veridin Zippel seemed a bit scared looking at Jin now. All right, let me give you some advice. If you meet another Zippel or find yourself in a similar situation, don't make a hasty decision to cut off their fingers. Otherwise, it will be painful for both guilds anyway. Jin replied, nice joke, Veridin Zippel. My father, Karen the Black Rukan, and your father, Zeliak Zippel, do you think they would interfere in a children's match? Veridin Zippel hesitated a bit upon hearing that. Veridin burst out laughing. You're right. They'd probably just compensate with gold or something. Hey, I learned something from you. I will repay this debt when I can. Jin coldly replied, don't leave it for later. Pay it now. Veridin Zippel seemed a bit awkward. Oh, of course, what do you need? Jin replied, I would be very grateful if you could Be quiet until the teleportation gate activates and not disturb my rest. Veridin Zippel, surprised and apprehensive, thought, Jin Run Candle, this guy. He will probably become stronger in a few years. If it weren't for his guild, I would ask him to be friends. Zippel kept looking at Jin so much that the guard had to gently remind him, Young master, your image. Veridin Zippel suddenly thought, and his eyes lit up. Wait a minute, if he's from the Black Rukam family? Is it possible that he will become my eternal enemy? I'm so great. The guard sighed and said, Young master, please. Jin, seeing Veridin's appearance, now thought to himself, how troublesome. His finger might have gotten serious and he still acts like that. What's wrong with the Zippel clan? They're all crazy. The loudspeaker announced, Thank you for your patient waiting. The teleportation gate will be temporarily opened. Everyone may experience headaches or dizziness as side effects. So passengers, please. Veridin Zippel suddenly slammed the table and shouted, Jin, the Run Candle. Very happy to meet you. See you next time. Jin coldly replied, I'm fine. Let's not meet again. Scene change. Jin arrived at the gate of the Runkendale mansion. Welcoming him was Pedro, bowing respectfully. We are waiting for you, sir. Young master, this is the first time I welcome you, sir. I am the second servant, Pedro. It must have been very difficult to get here. I respectfully welcome you to the main Runkendale mansion, the Sword Garden. The Sword Garden. Those who have contributed to the prosperity of the Runkendales will be honored to plant their swords in this garden. In other words, this place is a symbol of the dreams and honor of all Runkendale members. Jin coldly walked past the Sword Garden. It was also once my dream to plant my sword here before I die. My past self was weak and had no potential, a person who was neither a leader nor intelligent. Why was I so foolish to think that just by trying everything would change? This time Jin looked up at the castle before him. In this priceless place I will live a meaningful life. Entering, Jin was greeted by his parents and older siblings. The woman nicknamed Black Panther, Rosa Runkendale, matriarch of the Runkendale clan, looked at Jin with cold eyes. Long time no see, youngest son. Jin politely replied, Yes, mother. Rosa let out a cold hum. Then the black cat's eyes met the sharp, cold gaze of the family head Karen. He spoke, Did you pick up a stray animal? Jin happily petted the cat and casually replied, I took it in, father. Karen was quite surprised by Jin's answer. He raised his hand to gently stroke his chin. Instead of picking it up, you took it in it. It's good that you speak kindly. That's right. When a Runkendale receives something, this is the appropriate answer. Hearing these words from Karen, Jin felt a chill as he sensed many eyes were fixed on him. Rosa bent down to pet Jin's black cat. Son, what is this child's name? Jin replied, Her name is Butterfly Runkendale, mother. Rosa was surprised by Jin's answer. Not only Rosa was surprised, but everyone present was equally surprised. What father, mother? Even if it's small, this is not acceptable. How dare you add the Runkendale surname to this common animal? July, how did you raise the youngest child, huh? How dare a cat? July stammered in fear. I'm sorry. Karen cleared his throat. Enough. To calm everyone down. Then he turned to look at Jin, youngest son. Why did you add the Runkendale surname to this cat? Jin placed his hand on his chest and politely replied, Because that way I will be responsible for her. She may just be an animal, but she is the first life I have taken in, so I think her name also needs to have value. Karen was quite surprised by Jin's answer. Truly surprising. But youngest son, the weight of the name Runkendale, do you understand it? Jin confidently replied, Yes, I understand very well. If anyone insults Butterfly, I will be the one to make them pay. Karen gently stroked his sword. Youngest son. It seems you have a talent for making enemies. Look at how your other siblings are staring at you. Jin smiled faintly. It seems so. However, I also have a talent for destroying enemies, father. Karen suddenly laughed loudly, a rare smile appearing on the face of the head of the Runkendale clan. This child? All of you should be worried. If you want to deal with this insolent youngest son, finishing his words, Karen turned and left, leaving Jin amidst the resentful gazes of his older siblings. 4 years passed by in a flash. In the early summer of 1794, Jin Rung Kandel, now 14 years old, was a two-star knight, a low-ranking cadet. He was standing and talking to his trainer. "Young master, we will end the youngest master's training session here." "You've worked hard, sir." Jin was skeptical. "We only trained in the morning." The other trainer replied, "Doesn't Miss Luna have a training plan for today?" "You probably forgot. This person is Garen Altemia, a low-ranking Rung Kandel guard cadet and trainer." Jin placed the sword on the rack. "Ah, yes, that's right. I'll go get something to eat." Garen said, "Are you planning to eat with the other cadets today as well, sir?" Mistress Rosa seems quite disappointed. Jin sighed audibly. "It's okay. I don't want to participate in a staring contest with my older siblings while eating." Hearing that, Garen replied, "Understood. I will report back to her." Jin was sitting alone when a voice suddenly rang out. "Young master, I brought food for you." Jin replied, "Ah, thank you, Bellop." Bellop smiled. "You're welcome, young master. This girl is Bellop Smith, a low-ranking Rung Candle Guard cadet." Jin glanced at Bellop, who was devouring food deliciously, and thought to himself, Bellop Smith, 13 years old, a commoner. After failing the training period, he faced being stripped of his cadet status and expelled. Jin looked at Bellop. "Is it delicious?" Bellop turned to look at Jin. "Yes." As if understanding Jin's question, Jin stood up abruptly. "Of course. I am always grateful to the Rung Candle clan. Thanks to them, I get to eat this incredibly delicious meat. And I'm also grateful to the young master who always shares meat with me." Before Bellop could finish his sentence, Jin spoke up. "Enough, that's enough. Stop. You said the exact same thing yesterday. Did you memorize it?" Bellop scratched his head and laughed embarrassedly. "Bellop, you must learn to control yourself with maturity. The truth is, your constant blabbering makes others look down on you." Bellop was skeptical of Jin's words. Is that so?" Jin looked at Bellop with a stern gaze. "That's right. Straighten your back and be confident. Be confident that you are a cadet of the Run Candle Guard Knights." Bellop timidly said, "But my scores are very bad. I can't even reach 1 star." Hearing Bellop's words, Jin sighed helplessly. Becoming a cadet of the Run Candle clan is not an easy task. No matter how low your scores are, you are still better than other 13-year-old kids outside. Understand? Bellop replied. "Yes." Jin looked at Bellop, who was diligently eating, and thought to himself, "His personality is too naive. It's not an exaggeration to say he's targeted by my family, but how can such an innocent person, who was taught the path of a different swordmaster after becoming a loyal dog of the Empire, start walking on the ruthless path of a killer? When I heard he became a royal guard, I was very surprised. And when I heard he committed suicide, I was heartbroken. If I abandoned Bellop." Jean used his fork to take his portion of meat and put it on Bellop's food tray. Bellop was startled. Young master." Jin didn't let Bellop say more. "I'm not hungry. You can eat for me." Hearing that, Bellop's face lit up as he looked at Jin. "Young master." Jin looked at the innocent and naive Bellop before him, thinking to himself, "I must ensure you won't be expelled this time. Living in misfortune once and then dying is more than enough." After lunch, Jin strolled alone in the palace corridor. He was silently calculating. Releasing dark energy is 2 stars. Mana is 4 stars. Swordsmanship is 2 stars. Quite favorable. If I continue like this, I will be able to reach 3-star swordsmanship within 2 years. But before that, scene change. Jin was now standing in front of Luna preparing for the training session. Luna closed her eyes and with a dignified demeanor she spoke softly, "My adorable little brother, today's training will be the same as yesterday's. However, you will have to defend in a different way." Jin replied, "I understand, eldest sister." Luna began to guide Jin. "Little brother, use your mind's eye. Look with your mind's eye." Outwardly, Jin seemed to be very seriously following Luna's words, but deep inside, Jin was very skeptical about what was happening. "I guess I have to overcome this kind of training I've never heard of before." Luna said, "Look with the eyes of your soul. For those who live to sharpen their blades, having the eyes of the soul is more important than anything. Luna constantly reminded Jin, don't open your eyes. Although Jin was doing what Luna said, his mind was distracted. The realm of the soul's eye, which only knights above 7 stars can achieve. But she's teaching it to someone like me who is only 2 stars. Not only that a normal soul's eye is achieved by assigning aura, but because I can't use aura when I train, I can't understand it. Jin clenched his sword, encouraging himself. No, I choose to trust my sister. I'm sure she has some idea. Focus on training. I believe one day I will be able to understand this training exercise. It took quite a long time for the training session to end. Shedding her stern demeanor from training, Luna encouraged Jin. You did well today too, Jin. You can go back now. Jin shyly placed his hand on his neck and replied, Thank you, Luna. Luna remembered Jin's image during training and thought to herself, just as expected, I knew he would do well, but he always exceeds my expectations. He shows a focus and memory rarely seen in a 2-star knight. With your potential, I'm sure you'll understand it soon, in just a few years. Luna looked at Jin's retreating back with affectionate eyes. Continue to grow, my little brother Jin. Scene changed to the cadets' training session. Garen stood before Jin. Welcome, young master. They all looked very tense. I'm sure they are. Garan turned to look at the cadets neatly assembled below. Clearing his throat, he said, This match counts for a significant portion of the total score. Some good points are a shortcut to becoming a guard knight. So, I'm sure we are all very worried. Finishing his words, Garen turned to look at Jin and said softly, Today is also an important day for you, young master. Jin turned to look at Garen with a puzzled expression. Garen continued, Lady Rosa said that if you defeat 10 higher-ranking people today, you can join the intermediate training group early next year. Jin coldly replied, Mother said that. That's good news. Then Jin turned towards the assembled cadets, looking at Bellup, who was trembling. Bellup is like that again. Bellup's pitiful, frightened appearance made Jin sigh audibly. I will measure so that he is not expelled, but he should be more confident. Garen cleared his throat to settle the cadets. Attention. Today everyone will fight 3 times and switch partners each time. The 10 best winners will fight one-on-one with young Master Jin. As soon as Garen finished speaking, all the cadets said in unison, Yes, Instructor Won, die. The match between the cadets began. Jin stood outside observing the match and assessing. They're not bad. They didn't get their trainee licenses for nothing. After Garen finished pairing them up, he turned to look at those remaining. All right, those who were not chosen, return to your places. Yes, sir. Then Garen turned to look at Jin. Get ready, young master. Jin coldly replied, All right. Jin easily defeated his opponents one by one. 10, huh? My best was 8 people, so I only need to defeat 2 more. The more I want to do that, the person I need to pay attention to is... Interrupting Jin's train of thought, Garen said loudly, Next, get ready. A girl with long pink hair clutching a sword in her hand with clear confidence on her face gradually approached Jin. Please take care of me, young master. This girl is Mesa Mikano, a regular level Run Candle Guard Knight trainee. Jin looked at Mesa. Mesa Mikano, a noble who will become a guard knight after passing all trainee processes in the future. Mesa raised her sword into a combat-ready stance with a confident expression. Today, I will defeat you at all costs. Jin was quite amused by Mesa's confidence. The match with Mesa is the most important thing in this test. Jin smiled faintly. All right, I look forward to it. Then both of them rushed at each other. The blows exchanged by both sides carried immense power. Although they were fighting with wooden swords, the power was so great that their clashes created large flashes of light. Jin watched Mesa's fighting style and thought, Mesa, she's stronger than before, but not to the point where I can't defeat her. The problem is I have to defeat 8 more people after her. If that's the case, then... Jin continuously attacked Mesa's sword, making Mesa a bit flustered. Why is he only attacking so simply when he has already shown all his techniques? I'm sure he's doing it on purpose, but why? The sword in Mesa's hand trembled due to her current anger. Mesa looked at Jin's expression and his attacks, thinking to herself, no way. Is he looking down on me? Thinking that I can't defeat him today either. Thinking this, Mesa gripped the sword in her hand tightly, clearing her throat. Very well. Try it, young master. Mesa angrily swung her sword continuously at Jin. The cadets watching from the outside were all stunned by the intensity of the match. The blows from Jin and Mesa became increasingly damaging. Mesa encouraged herself. I won't be pushed down anymore. This time I will surpass the young master. Mesa gathered her strength and jumped high, delivering a powerful blow to Jin's sword. But beyond Mesa's imagination, Jin easily parried Mesa's attack. Not only that, he also broke Mesa's sword in half, sending it flying straight into the sky. Mesa looked at her broken sword, bewildered and frozen on the spot. How? Before Mesa could do anything more, Jin pointed his sword at Mesa's throat. Good match, Mesa Mikano. Then Jin sheathed his sword and said coldly, anyway, it's useless. Mesa looked down at the sword in her hand. I can't believe it. Did he attack the same spot on my sword with those blows? My endurance and strength are the same as his, but I lost to precision and stubbornness. Can such a thing happen? After all, he is a child of Runkandle. Mesa approached Jin, young master. I will train diligently and will surely defeat you next time. Mesa told herself, I can't keep losing like this. Jin thought, everything is according to plan. Like me now, it's very difficult to directly confront 10 trainees. Despite my and Mesa's surprising victory, I made them misunderstand that they would lose if they fought directly. Due to the unstable mentality of the cadets, Jin easily defeated the remaining opponents after Mesa. Jin looked at the fallen opponent. With this, then 10. Thank heavens everything went according to plan. Garen approached Jin and said, very good, young master. With this you can be trained by a true Runkandle in the intermediate group next year. Congratulations in advance. Jin replied, thank you, Garen. Please take care of things until then. Garen looked at Jin and said, it's almost mealtime. We finished the morning training. Jin hesitated. How much longer? Hearing that, Garen wondered, about 10 minutes. Why do you ask? Jin coldly replied, I still have to face one more person. Garen was skeptical. Who? Jin approached the rack and picked up his sword. Then he cleared his throat and shouted loudly, Bellup Smith! Bellup, standing and hearing Jin call his name, jumped and stammered. Young master, me? Jin said softly, step forward, let's fight. Bellup hesitated, but, before Bellup could finish his sentence, Jin loudly interrupted, Bellup. Jin pointed his sword at Bellup. You can't survive in Runkandle like this. Step up, step straight up and fight me. I will defeat you. Heavy footsteps struggled to move forward. This heaviness was surely not from the iron armor he was wearing, but his current mood. Bellup, dejected and struggling, dragged his wooden sword towards Jin Runkandle under thousands of eyes from behind watching him, and Jin still stood there with a very majestic demeanor waiting. After a while, Bellup reached a certain position and also began to raise his sword into a fighting stance, but his body still trembled uncontrollably. Why did the young master choose me? Is it because I'm weak? So I can help him improve his military skills? Seeing Bellup's slightly awkward and frightened appearance, Jin, with an expressionless face, called out, Bellup? Hearing the young master call his name Bellup was startled and immediately stood up straight and serious, so much so that his disheveled blonde hair also stiffened. He said loudly, Yes, young master. His anxious reaction made his comrades behind him burst out laughing mockingly. Jin's tone was both concerned and slightly sarcastic. I feel quite tired fighting 10 people. But you are different. You seem fine, huh? But I am still stronger than you. That's why I want to fight you. Hearing that, Bellup reflexively raised his sword straight in front of him, stammering, What do you mean, sir? Before he could finish his sentence, Jin Runkandle, like a blazing bright flame, rushed towards Bellup. The surrounding scenery also turned fiery red due to the influence of Jin Runkandle's power. Attacked unexpectedly, Bellup quickly used his sword to block a powerful blow. Aka! Bellup also quickly used all his strength to push Jin away, but Immediately after, his feet gripped the ground firmly to hold his stance. Then he again showed awkwardness. Young, young master, why are you? Jin remained silent and continued to rush at Bellup attacking. This time it seemed he used more force to fight. Flashes of light from the attacks and defenses of these two people appeared and flowed out like electric fields. Crack. It was still a difficult sword fight, while Jin continuously attacked Bellup, only parried the blows and did not counterattack at all. This resilience also made Jin open his mouth to praise with an admiring gaze. Good parry. Bellup, like a hunted sheep still trembling, looked into his eyes and replied, "Thank you." Bellup also didn't give Jin a chance to get too close for long. Instead, he quickly swung his sword to push Jin back. Crack. Bellup's push also sent Jin flying a considerable distance. Jin had to stab his sword into the ground to avoid being thrown further. When the tip of the sword scraped against the ground, it accidentally sent stones flying and even created sparks. That was enough to show that Bellup's resistance was not to be underestimated. Jin also took that opportunity to fling stones and dust towards Bellup, causing him to lose his bearings and reflexively cover his eyes. Akka, unconsciously retreating. Jin seized the opportunity, spun on the ground, and decisively kicked Bellup's leg. That decisive and unexpected kick made Bellup unable to defend in time and fall painfully. Crack. He groaned. Ack, suppressing the physical pain trying to stand up, but tears welled up in his eyes. Bellup now seemed to shrink under Jin's large shadow. He trembled, looking up at Jin. Young master. Why did you do that? Jin's voice rose arrogantly. Do you simply think I called you here just to fight? I want to fight you so then I can kill you. Under the sunlight shining on his head, Jin pointed his sword straight at Bellup and uttered cold words, his eyes unwavering. Seeing Bellup still not getting up, Jin ordered, "Get up. I will only go easy on you once." And Bellup now also gripped his sword tightly in his hand. He tried to use his sword to support himself and stand up. Everyone standing around saw this and started talking. Some were scared for Bellup. Some wanted him to stand up and fight to the end. The discussions made the stands more lively than before. Bellup now began to show his strength. The sword in his hand seemed to have received all its power, glowing with a mystical golden light. Everyone outside who saw it was extremely astonished. Mesa shouted, That thing, it's aura." Looking at Bellup now, he was completely different from before. He looked stronger. Surely the golden light radiating from the sword gave me a sense of Bellup's majesty. Mesa, in panic and worry, turned to her teacher and said, "Teacher, we need to stop this match immediately. If this continues, the young master will be in danger." The teacher also couldn't hide his surprise. Before he could speak, Jin's loud voice was heard. "Swordsmanship teacher, Garen Altemia. This is an order. What you see today, carry it with you until you go to your graves." Every word Jin spoke exuded killing intent. His eyes were also very cold, not looking at Mesa or teacher Altemia even once, but staring straight ahead. Those eyes had become brighter blue. Teacher Altemia could only say helplessly, "I understand." Mesa beside him, dazed and scared, could only nod repeatedly. With his flowing golden bangs, Bellup looked up with a face full of wounds. "Is this really what you want, young master?" Unlike Bellup's reverence, Jin replied boredly, "That's right. If you know how to use aura, then don't retreat." He raised his sword with a cold expression. Enduring from the beginning until now, Bellup started gritting his teeth, preparing to show his ability. "Sir, you've made a mistake, young master. If you want to fight me, then you should have sought me out to fight first." Shouting, Bellup swung his sword high and ran. The stream of powerful light also followed his sword's path, shining brightly. His eyes now turned an emerald green, hiding both hatred and resilience. Bellup delivered a powerful blow aimed straight at Jin, but Jin quickly parried it with his sword. But through the flash of light and the way Jin's hair flew, one could see how powerful this attack was. And that very attack broke Jin's sword in half. Above Bellup's sword, Nava's breath still lingered. Finishing the first blow, Bellup ended with a firm and beautiful stance. On the contrary, Jin, having lost momentum due to his broken sword, instinctively recoiled sharply backward. For a moment Jin's eyes settled, hiding his thoughts. I didn't know he was this strong. I know Bellup is very strong. Following his train of thought, Jin remembered the first moment he witnessed Bellup fight. Every time the cadets challenged each other, he could always see through his opponent's skills and tactics. Moreover, he knew how to avoid getting injured even if he lost. But I didn't expect him to be able to use aura. While Jin was still deep in thought, Belop, with a somewhat angry face, prepared to attack him again. But Jin quickly retreated backward. He threw away half of the broken sword. Then he directly used his bare hand to strike Belop's wrist just as he was about to deliver a blow. Being attacked so quickly injured Belop's wrist. He looked down at his trembling hands and groaned, "Crack!" Then suddenly something flashed past his vision. Then came the clanging sound of metal. The situation was once again reversed, as Belop was now pinned by Jin's hand on his neck. Belop still tried to resist by pulling Jin's hand away, but couldn't break free. Seeing Belop gradually tiring, Jin let him go. Then he took a step back, not to see him more clearly, but to let Belop lower his guard. As for Belop, he knelt on the ground, his body trembling, breathing heavily. Why did you stop, sir? You said you wanted to fight to the end. So you should have finished the match, shouldn't you? Do you find it fun to play with others like that?" Jin looked at Belop, who was uttering angry words at him with a hint of melancholy. Then he asked back, "In your eyes, am I that kind of person?" Belop couldn't control himself and turned his head up, shouting. "Then, why?" Jin explained gently. "But provoking you in this way also hurts me a lot. It hurts me more than you think." Hearing that, Belop clenched his fist still with some anger in his gentlemanly heart. "What do you know about me to torture me like this?" Contrary to Belop's anger, Jin very calmly approached Belop. He bent down to pick up the sword. "Just as you said, I don't know who you are." He held the sword high. "But I know one thing." Belop gradually calmed down, looking up in astonishment. Jin's stern eyes, full of sincerity, looked at Belop. "Care is something you can only possess when you become strong. You are weaker than me, and also kinder than me." He said this while placing his hand on Belop's shoulder as encouragement. "I'm sorry. Of course I like that very much, but if you're that kind, you won't be able to survive in this hell." Jin's voice was soft but full of affection. "Belop, become stronger so you can protect this kind heart." Those outside who saw this also showed empathy on their faces. "A kind heart fights for me, and for others too." Jin's warm voice echoed in the quiet space for a long time, and the words from the bottom of his heart also made Belop realize something and burst into sobs. Jin smiled and patted his shoulder. "I'm sorry for having to do such a difficult thing." At that moment, the kitchen staff brought out a large pot and loaves of bread. It looked very heavy. One of them realized the training session wasn't over and exclaimed, "Oh my goodness!" The teacher approached Jin and Belop. "The training session isn't over yet. We'll come back later." Seeing those people carrying heavy food still fumbling, Jin immediately said no. "It's okay, just bring it in." Belop had also calmed down by now. He returned to his previous timid demeanor. "Young master, please come and receive today's rations." Hearing that offer, Jin smiled and slung his sword over his shoulder. "All right, I'll go get your portion and mine." At this moment, a halo of light shone through Jin, making him look truly radiant. "Is that why my youngest son said that?" Khan bowed and reported to the family head Karen about Jin's recent actions. "Yes, Patriarch." Then suddenly Karen turned around and burst out laughing. "I understand. The boy made that choice, didn't he? He intends to protect the weak while ruling by force, huh? If that's the case, then let him continue. I want to see what he can do." Then he instructed, "Khan, go back and tell the boy everything." Khan bowed. "Yes, sir." Karen bowed his head, his stern face flashing a cunning smile. "I will give the boy his first mission." January 1795, my 15-year-old self was recognized as a 3-star knight. During the first holiday, some trainees returned to their hometowns. The rest trained on their own to check their progress. When advancing to the intermediate level, wooden swords will no longer be used for practice. Real customized swords have replaced them. Many trainees had commissioned craftsmen to make custom swords for themselves. I am also trying to find a sword that suits me in the clan's armory. But older sister Luna wants to help Jin find a sword. Finding a sword that suits you is really tough, according to Jin, because she said she wanted to choose a sword for me. So all decision-making power fell into her hands. Jin leaned against the wall, remembering this day a month ago. At that time, Luna had tormented him to resolutely win the right to choose the sword for herself. Jin, please let me choose a sword for you. Then he lowered his head, pondering and reassuring himself. Never mind, she has a better eye for weapons than I do. So I'm sure the chosen sword will suit me. Interrupting his train of thought, Luna carried out a huge sword from the treasure room. Jin stared, his face frozen, not believing his eyes. Luna looked at Jin and confidently introduced, "This sword is called the Slaughter Show. When I was your age, I used it a lot. A big sharp sword. When I was your age, I think I would use things like that." She looked down at the sword affectionately. "I guess this is the original form of the sword I used to use." Then she suddenly turned up and asked Jin, "What do you think of this sword? Jin, do you like it?" Faced with such a difficult question, Jin racked his brain for all the words he had to answer hesitantly. Sister Luna, I'm really grateful that you helped me choose a sword, but I don't think this sword suits me." Hearing that, Luna's face clearly showed sadness because she had put a lot of effort into choosing a sword for her younger brother. "I understand. It's okay, I was just kidding." Jin looked at Luna's mood and thought to himself, "I don't think she's kidding." Luna swung the sword and commented to herself, "But the Slaughter Show really is a good sword. Though it's a bit heavy, it's not too heavy." She glanced sharply at the sword. Looking at the sword propped on the ground, Luna sighed and said reluctantly, "All right, I'll listen to you then. I'll choose another sword for you." Hearing that, Jin silently sighed in relief. Luna said while pushing open the treasure room door, "I really put a lot of my own effort into choosing a sword for you." Then Luna led Jin into the storeroom. She said sincerely, "A sword that only you can use. And this is my choice." Seeing the sword Luna held up, Jin was a bit surprised. "Because you also chose Barasada from the beginning. So I think this will be the most suitable sword for you." Jin watched Luna slowly draw the sword from its sheath, thinking to himself, "This sword is..." The sword connected to the Barasada sword that the first patriarch used, Bradamante. Jin held the Bradamante with an interested expression. "You like this sword now, don't you?" Jin replied immediately. "That's right. This is truly the most special sword among thousands of excellent swords." Jin lowered his head, looking at the sword in his hand, thinking to himself, "This is the sword I told myself I had to get by any means. I didn't expect she would choose Bradamante for me." Both Bradamante and Barasada are very suitable for using dark energy. If I chose this sword myself, others would surely object and force me to give it up. Jin was very grateful to Sister Luna for choosing this sword for him. "This Bradamante sword is what all your older siblings want. So I don't know how to repay you for choosing it for me." Hearing that, Luna replied, "That doesn't sound right. Jin, I guess you still haven't let down your guard with me, right?" She lowered her head, a hint of sadness in her eyes. "I'm a little disappointed, you know." Jin waved his hand, denying, No. It's not that I'm being serious." Luna moved closer to Jin, pointing her finger. "Is that so? But I really am disappointed. So please soothe this little, overflowing, disappointed heart of mine." Jin was flustered. "What?" Then Luna requested, "Close your eyes, Jin. We will start training. All right? Do you know what I'm talking about?" "Of course, Sister Luna. That's good. But today I still have something to teach you." Hearing that, Jin was surprised. "What?" Luna placed her hand on Jin's shoulder. "Your relatives may always try to bring each other down, but they are also the ones who love you unconditionally." She emphasized, "Remember this well in your heart." Then she suddenly grabbed Jin's shoulder and shouted, "And don't be sad anymore." This startled him, and he replied, "Understood. I understand. I'm sorry." Then Luna switched to a confiding tone, advising, "I lived a lonely life in my own family even before you were born. I've lived like that long enough. So please understand that I don't want you to go through a life like that too. Jin trembled because Luna's hand was still gripping his arm tightly, and he stammered in reply, I know Luna. Luna turned around cheerfully. All right. So let's start training now, Jin. Feel it with all your heart. Very quickly, Jin returned to his room to show off his sword. Murakhan, what do you think? He expected praise, but unexpectedly Murakhan started lecturing, Return it, kid. You still can't master dark energy, so you can't use it. Hearing that, Jin stiffened and replied, What? Murakhan continued, If you want to use Bradamante, you at least need to reach 3 stars of dark power. But you're just a 2-star kid, aren't you? You can't imitate the awakened appearance of the sword. Jin looked at the sword with a doubtful expression, then affirmed to himself, I will reach 3 stars soon. Then I will soon be able to use it. Hearing that, Murakhan slammed shut the book he was reading and angrily yelled, So arrogant, prick up your ears and listen carefully to what I say, kid. Barasada and Bradamante are not 2 swords you can use carelessly. At least you need to reach 3 stars of dark power. That's the absolute minimum level. Murakhan said this while roughly hitting Jin on the head. Just use those normal swords and wait until you reach 5 stars of dark power. Understand, huh? Jin struggled to get up, but, shoving Murakhan's hand away, he smirked cheekily. You also know I'm not the impatient type. In short, I just need to reach 5 stars of power this year, right? Hearing that, Murakhan's forehead veins bulged with anger. Grabbing Jin's head, he gritted his teeth and warned, Even if you rank first in the dark power competition, mastering that power is still utterly absurd. I say these things because I want what's best for you. Because it's so absurd that even it would laugh in your face. If you understand what I'm saying, then stop saying such absurd things. Seeing that old dragon keep scolding him, Jin secretly reached for his book while he was rambling on. Jin held up the book, acting as if he was about to tear it threateningly. Hey, say that again? What did you say, sir? Seeing his favorite book threatened, Murakhan jumped in anger and cursed. Damn it! Hey! 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 Put it down. I said put it down. Quick. At the same time, July hurriedly ran in from outside, calling, Young master? Hearing this, Jin spun around. July, huh? What's wrong? Did something happen? While Jin was distracted, Murakhan seized the opportunity to snatch back his storybook. July reported, Instructor Garen is looking for you, sir. He should have come here himself, but he said he needs to look at the map while discussing the strategic summary with you, so he needs you to go there. Murakhan sat on the floor hugging the book and crying with joy. Oh, my beloved comic book. Jin, however, focused on listening to July and then wondered, Strategy, huh? July seriously replied, Yes. Instructor Garen has assigned you your first mission. After the holiday ends, you will have to depart immediately. Jin turned, walking and scratching his head. Is that so? It's about time, isn't it? Now I'm a 3-star swordsman, but departing right after the holiday is quite strange. July walked right behind Jin. I guess it's because it's a very difficult mission, sir. Usually intermediate missions and above are all assigned to them. Jin continued. It's probably because my progress has been recognized that I was assigned this mission. Jin turned back confidently, gesturing with his hand. I'll go check it out. July. Just stay here and wait with Murakhan. July said softly, Yes, young master. Please go ahead, sir. Arriving at the appointed place, Jin pushed the door. Entering, Jin spoke. Garon. I heard I've been assigned a mission. Garon, holding the strategic plan in his hand, turned around to greet him. Hello, young master. Besides you, 10 junior trainees have also been assigned the mission. Everyone will be divided into 2 teams to carry out the mission. This is a search mission in the vicinity of the southern border area of the Jin Empire. The Jin Empire is near the land of the demi-humans. Huh? It seems it's also near the area marked as the den of the White Wolf tribe. Hearing that, Jin thought to himself, low-level trainees shouldn't be sent to this area. If this is the first mission, it's quite difficult. The execution time is also shorter than usual, Jin thought while reaching out to take the map. Young master, this is the map and detailed information about the members, sir. Give it to me. Everyone was surprised after looking at it. My team members are trainees with pre-intermediate results, huh? There's also Bellup, a member with unstable results. Could it be that someone proactively suggested this? Suggestion, huh? If the matter of me fighting Bellup has been reported to Father, then this mission is probably to test me, huh? Thinking this, Jin clenched his fist. All right, Father, I will definitely show you. My own firm belief. 3 days later, the southern border region. The objective of this mission is to find the heir of the Jin Kingdom clan, 7. We will set up a guard camp in the center of the southern border when we arrive there. Once preparations are complete, each team will begin the search and share information by sending someone to the camp at a predetermined time of day. Everyone calls not young master, but commander. Those who are injured stay put in the camp. Rest if necessary. Over. Let's hope the scout leader is still alive. Bellup ran to Jin to report the situation. Commander Eddington saw demi-humans of the Watertail tribe. Hearing that, Jin calmly pulled down his hood, the Watertail tribe, because they are just a gentle tribe avoiding carnivorous beasts. We probably won't enter the nearby White Wolf tribe's territory. Jin said this while visualizing the image of the demi-human. Then he turned and ordered, "All right, Bellup, because you will be slowed down by the snow. Depart 2 hours early. Return to Area 13. Bellup obeyed, placing his hand on his chest. Understood, Commander. Jin turned to the remaining people. The rest of you, search Area 13. All said in unison, "Yes, Commander." Then he moved to one side, observing the demi-humans, and pondered, I have a bad feeling about this. Father must have given the mission directly, but everything is too smooth. Or is it just that I misunderstood that he wants to test me with this mission? As he walked towards the demi-humans, Jin pondered. Seeing Jin's group approaching, the demi-humans gathered around. One spoke up, "Everyone." Another, holding a fish, pointed towards Jin. "Looks so poor." The demi-human holding the fish approached. Jin raised the fish, trembling. "If you're sad, eat this." "Here." Jin bent down close to it. "Thank you. I will repay you later." Then Jin continued to observe and ponder. Beyond Area 13 is the land of demi-humans. Junior soldiers will not be their match. Jin unfolded the strategic map and continued to think, I don't need to force myself just to get results. I will spend the next 3 days confirming the searched areas. Suddenly, an urgent call interrupted his train of thought. "Young Master." Bellup ran from afar in a panic. "Young Master Jin." Jin turned around worried. "What's wrong, Bellup?" Bellup answered in a panic, making Jin freeze. The second team was ambushed. After hearing this, Jin spun around and raised his hand to order, "All forces prepare to move." "Bellup, what's the situation?" Bellup answered urgently. Team 2 scattered to avoid the enemy. One who escaped managed to reach the guard camp to report the situation. Jin asked further, "Demi-humans ambushed them." Bellup's face contorted with a hint of panic. "No, they were ambushed by humans. It's confirmed there were 3 people attacking the Run Candle." "Only 3 people," Jin replied seriously. "No way. I'm sure they have more people." Then he turned back and growled, "Eddington." David returned to camp to guard the surroundings. "Detecting contact with the enemy is forbidden. First report as soon as possible." "Yes, sir." After assigning tasks while moving, Jin continued to fall into deep thought. There are too many enemies here. But what is their goal? Targeting Team 2 instead of Team 1, where I am. I don't know who they are, but... Suddenly Jin stopped and gestured for the 2 people behind him to halt. They've been attacked. Then he continued his train of thought on his own. I'm sure they will pay for messing with the Runcandel family. Then Bellup suddenly spoke up. "Young Master, there's blood." Under the snow-covered white ground there were footprints and dark red bloodstains. Bellup's face turned pale with fear as he stammered, "It can't be. Mesa has... Everyone in Team 2 is dead." Jin's voice, soothing, crept in. "Calm down, Bellup. The blood is still fresh." Jin carefully knelt down to examine the tracks. No signs of struggle or dismemberment. There was a battle here, and Team 2 fled. From the footprints, it seems only one person ambushed them. Sierra's voice rang out, "Young master, we found discarded bandages. They seem to belong to Hugh Fester." Jin looked at the blood-stained white bandage in Sierra's hand and praised, "Well done, Sierra. Where did you find it?" Sierra replied, "In the west." Jin held the bandage, observed it, then imagined the strategic map. So, while treating the injured after being pursued, they were attacked by an ambusher and moved west. Then Jin pushed himself up straight and simultaneously ordered, "Sierra, join Eddington's group and rely on them." "Let's go, Bellop." Bellop heard the order. "Yes, young master." Jin and Bellop continued to move through the snowy weather. Arriving after settling into a hiding spot, Bellop whispered, "It's Team 2. Young master." I know. But after observing the current situation of Team 2, Jin concluded Mesa is not here. Not only that, the number of ambushers has increased by 1. Jin took out a small knife and simultaneously ordered Bellop, "Bellop, close your eyes for a moment." After 2 seconds pass, attack the one on the left. Bellop received the order, knelt down and drew his sword ready. Understood. Jin began to execute his technique. The characteristics of the dark energy that Murakami taught me, the sharpness and destructive power of matter within the dark energy increase. And it erodes matter. Jin jumped out, pointing the knife straight at the C-rank enemy. A stream of power shot straight forward. One of the 2 enemies was directly hit by Jin's technique without even realizing it. That enemy was eliminated in an instant, surprising the man from Team 2. Immediately after, Bellop jumped out from his hiding spot to attack the remaining dazed enemy. "What the heck?" Then he suddenly glanced up. Bellop glared at him. From behind, Jin's Bradamante was drawn. Just as he was focusing on blocking Bellop's attack, Jin rushed straight from behind and attacked him from the back. Blood splattered a dark red, spreading across the covered ground. Jin pinned the enemy flat on the ground and turned to look at everyone. "Everyone, are you okay?" Although his body was covered in wounds, to prevent Jin from worrying, he still tried to hold on. "Young master, we're fine. But they captured Mesa." "We apologize, young master." Jin replied, "It's okay. Prioritize treating everyone first." The enemy pinned under Jin looked at Jin with eyes full of hatred. But because he didn't want to lose his life, he begged Jin to spare him. Jin looked at the enemy on the ground and coldly replied, "You're asking me to spare you. From your perspective, you seem to be foolish disciples of Zippel. I will give you 2 choices." Jin glared, pointing his sword at Zippel's disciple. "1, you will die peacefully after revealing your faction, your purpose, and your base. Or 2, keep your mouth shut and die painfully like your comrades." Looking at the disciple's expression, Jin secretly guessed this person didn't believe what he said. "I will keep my promise. My name is Jin Runcandle. I swear on my family's rules and my honor." Hearing that, the disciple closed his eyes tightly and begged, "Okay, all right. Please spare my family. I belong to a revolutionary group called Kinjello." Jin was skeptical. Kinjello. Jin vaguely remembered something. Kinjello. He means the terrorist organization active around the time I died. The world was in chaos when they killed King Jin and massacred the people. They called themselves the Revolutionary Group. And what Kinjello mentioned was turning their king into the king of the world. Jin was indignant. "You intend to incite rebellion in the Jin kingdom by killing Runcandle soldiers." That disciple hurriedly explained, I'm just a lackey. So I don't know that much. I also don't know where the base is, but the branch I operate in is located at the entrance to the demi-human lands. There are about 20 warriors and 4-star mages." Hearing that, Jin frowned. "Last question. Why capture Mesa?" The disciple replied, "That is to propagandize, promote our revolution. There was an order to capture female soldiers alive." Hearing that, Jamor was indignant. "You filthy bastards." That disciple replied, "That's all I know." Jin coldly looked at the disciple. "I will keep my promise." Finishing his words, Jin used his sword to take his life. Blood spread over a large area on the ground. Jin said, "How long has Mesa been captured?" Bellop replied, 1 hour. Jin heard this and wondered, so they are still near the entrance to the monster's land. Go request reinforcements from the base after completing first aid. Jimo heard this and was skeptical. Excuse me, are you planning to go alone, young master? The ambushers are 4-star martial artists, 20 in total. He's right, going alone is too dangerous, young master, Scott said loudly. We are soldiers, so it's very normal to die in battle. So please, before Scott could finish, Jin replied coldly. As you said, Scott, but a soldier was captured. Runkendel's son can do nothing. I am stronger than everyone thinks, so obey my orders. I will punish any insubordination. And Bella, since all members of Team 2 are injured, you are now their strongest soldier. So, you must keep yourself alert. You understand me, right? Bellup replied, I will remember, young master. Then Jin left for the rebels' base. Jin imagined the scene of Mesa being tied up. Please don't let me arrive too late. In the middle of a snowstorm in the dark night, Jin thought with difficulty, our enemy has 20 4-star soldiers. He struggled to raise his hand to wipe the sweat from his worried cheek. But my swordsmanship is only about 3 stars 4-star magic and 3-star dark energy release magic. Jin, with his thoughts, kept walking into the dark, deep forest, his speed developing quite well. But I can't deal with all of them at once in my current state. Now the top priority is to rescue Mesa. At this moment, he performed a wind spell, creating a green whirlwind in his hand with the thought, I will try to avoid combat as much as possible and focus on finding Mesa. Jin used a terrain testing move to launch the whirlwind. It quickly spread like a terrain net covering the surroundings. Jin continued to create a wind spell with the intention, and if I follow the wind-chasing magic here too, then the whirlwind he created was like a giant snake winding its way through the canopy, rushing forward. Following the whirlwind, Jin realized it was heading towards the meadow. He immediately rushed in that direction because, according to him, they hadn't gone far. Jin was running quickly forward when suddenly an arrow from the right appeared out of nowhere, flying towards him. More arrows flew out from that direction to attack, but Jin quickly performed a wind spell in his hand to dodge. It turned out to be Mias's men. They rushed to attack, shouting at each other, It's the Runkandle kid, get him! At that moment, Jin performed magic and drew the sword from his side. He swung out deadly sword strikes towards them. That sword strike cut one of Mias's men in half, causing him to exclaim in amazement, Magic? That Runkandle guy uses magic. That amazement didn't last long. Mias quickly reassured his subordinates, Damn it, just kill him. Not keeping the opponent waiting long, Jin quickly drew his sword from its sheath again. Mias's attack was quickly deflected by Jin. Seeing his comrades in a critical situation, the purple-robed mage created a flame on his staff and shouted, Move aside, Mias. Mias turned to dodge to one side, and the flame was launched by him towards Jin as if wanting to engulf him. However, as the flame approached, it turned into a rope, binding Jin's arm, making him unable to move. Seeing an opportunity to counterattack, Mias smiled triumphantly. The smile hadn't lasted long on his lips when Mias was slashed across the body by Jin's sword while he didn't understand what was happening. Dealing with the flame on his hand, Jin twisted his wrist and grabbed it. Then he pulled the strong flame towards him decisively. The mage hadn't had time to react to the current situation when he was pulled closer by him. With his will, the mage remained stubborn, ignoring if the fire had no effect. He shouted loudly, Then I will tear you apart with ice. Then a magic circle appeared, launching sharp ice darts. However, when the ice darts hit Jin, they didn't cause any damage at all. He easily swung his sword, shattering the darts to the other's amazement. He shouted in disbelief, Impossible, how? Before being killed by Jin, he left a resentful remark. My magic. The battle finally ended, Jin thought slowly. Those Kinjalo bastards. He gently sheathed his sword and continued his train of thought. It seems they don't intend to hide their tracks at all. They underestimate their opponents too much. Suddenly, he noticed footprints and drag marks of something and speculated, they must have met someone else here and moved by a cart. Then Jin pondered. Kinjalo is a group with a proper hierarchy. They probably divide the spoils according to rank. He held the map in his hand, turned his head to look at the battlefield, and calculated. Because they wouldn't dare touch the reward for high-ranking people now, is the only chance for me to rescue Mesa safely. Looking at the map, Jin realized, I'm currently near the monster's territory, so their base must be nearby. If so, deciding he used fire magic to burn the map in his hand. I will distract them and find an opening to rescue Mesa. Scene change at this moment, Jin with a determined expression launched burning flames. That flame was like a hungry demon rushing to engulf and burn an entire area of the sky. Adding wind to the storm, Jin continued to use wind magic to help the fire spread around faster. If I do this, they will run out to put out the fire. From within the fire, someone shouted in panic, "There's a fire! What happened suddenly?" Jean hid behind the building, quietly observing their confusion. Where did this fire come from? Put it out immediately. Water, bring water. Suddenly, Jin noticed a loud man shouting, "Don't you know how to put out a fire properly?" The shouting man had a fierce appearance, large and constantly giving orders. Mages use your water and ice magic. Is that their leader? Jin looked at this man and speculated, is that their leader? Jin acted while they were panicking and unable to handle the situation. Boss, the fire is still not out. The leader was also sharp enough to notice the abnormality and reminded, do you think this fire started on its own in this weather? Someone must have started it. Find him. Meanwhile, the leader didn't know that the instigator Jin had approached him. At this moment, suddenly realizing something was wrong, the leader turned around and shouted, "Ah!" Where he stood, a blue light flashed. The subordinates below were obscured by smoke and didn't realize the situation, so they told each other, "Move quickly, call the mages quickly." Defeating the leader, Jin conveniently held a bunch of keys in his hand. Good, I've found the way in. A door was opened by Jin. The air inside made him a little unaccustomed. It's quite cold. Where could Mesa be? Suddenly, Jin looked towards a corner where there was a door in the ground. A basement. Below the basement, there was long flowing hair. Mesa was tied up when she heard a familiar voice calling her name, Mesa. She looked towards the sound, young master. She couldn't help but worry and reminded, why are you here? It's very dangerous here. But Jin still gently asked Mesa, don't worry about me, can you walk? Mesa, being untied by Jin, replied, yes, but I don't think I can run. Hearing that, he said, all right, I'll help you stand up. Suddenly, the place where the two stood shook violently like an earthquake. Jin, helping Mesa up, was confused. What's that sound? As for Mesa, she seemed determined. Young master. She looked into his eyes and spoke from the bottom of her heart. Can you promise me one thing? As if understanding what she wanted to say, Jin immediately interrupted, don't say any more, Mesa. But Mesa, with a determined expression, uttered each word, if we end up in a dangerous situation, just leave me behind. Young master is a very important person. Nothing bad can happen to you. Of course, Jin would never abandon his comrade. He gently helped her walk. Just go first. It's very dangerous. When both of them got outside, this place had become a brutal battlefield. The men from before had been knocked down by someone and lay motionless on the ground. Jin looked at this scene in disbelief. He looked at the wound on the shoulder of a man lying on the ground and realized it's the work of a monster from the warrior tribe. Both Jin and Mesa looked in one direction. The shadow of a giant wolf was illuminated by a blazing red fire, its hand tightly gripping a hammer. He is the one from the white wolf tribe. His appearance is extremely warlike, exuding immense killing intent. Mesa immediately instructed, young master, I will buy time, so please hurry. But before she could finish, Jin hit her on the back of the neck, knocking her out. Young master. The man from the white wolf tribe spoke at this moment with a contemptuous voice. Useless bastards, if you can't even put out a fire, there's no reason for you to live anymore. Then he looked at Jin and asked, you're the one who caused all this, right, kid? Facing his large figure, Jin didn't flinch or fear, and replied confidently, that's right, I am the son of Karen Runkandel, Jin Runkandel. With a determined gaze, he looked at the other and challenged, state your name, you monster. The White Wolf clansman gave a hideous smile with vacant white eyes and said, Runkandel, are you one of the Runkandel family's children? A few days before starting the mission in the Jin Kingdom, the Runkandel family mansion, The scene shows a young man in a white shirt. His eyes are closed, holding a sword surrounded by a terrifying black aura, and his name is Jin. That sword is surrounded by that black magic aura. Suddenly, Murakan appeared. He kicked Jin hard from behind. He glared, looking extremely angry. "You fool!" Murakan was furious. He was extremely annoyed, shouting loudly, "Do you want to die or what I remember telling you?" He grabbed Jin's shirt. "You're not good enough yet, so if you release your sword, you'll just get drunk on dark energy." He grabbed Jin's collar. "If you don't want to die from overdosing on dark energy, then don't try to awaken your sword anymore." "Understand?" Jin looked indifferent, reluctantly replying, "Understood." Scene change. Jin stood proudly, his eyes sharp, his fists clenched silently, calling a name, Runkandel. "That's right, today is the day I hunt the most expensive trophy." A monster roared, "My name is Kojito Chuka. I am a warrior of the Chuka clan, the White Wolf tribe, a tribe famous for being warlike and bloodthirsty. The lowest-ranking adult of the White Wolf tribe is also a 6-star warrior. Everyone knows the White Wolf tribe hates the Runkandel clan, and the reason for that is because the first-generation patriarch of the Runkandel clan invited their god Great White Wolf Javier and killed him." Jin pondered, "I can't escape him with Mesa." Goltep Hopalep roared in anger, "I will sacrifice you to Javier so that his soul may rest in peace." Someone thought to himself, "Now choose, you will fight an honorable duel with me, or you will be torn apart while fleeing like a coward." Jin raised his sword high, decisively answering, "I will fight you." He was excited. "Good, so you are a Runkandel with some shame." He raised his weapon and shouted, "Then let's have a proper fight." The battle was explosive. Sparks flew continuously. The hilt of the yellow sword was very special. A dazzling light, Jin's eyes widened as if something shocked him greatly. The scene appeared, the battle was extremely fierce. Jin thought fearfully, "He is indeed from the White Wolf tribe. I have to use all my strength to block his attack." The attacks of the two lit up the entire space. "It seems the fight was very difficult for Jin," he thought again, "but I still have a chance to win. I have a few trump cards that the opponent doesn't know. The pendant magic and dark energy." He thought, "Using the pendant now is not worth it." A sea blue pendant lay in Jin's palm. "If I can't overcome this danger, it means I'm not qualified to be strong." A large magic circle appeared in the battle, separating Jin and Goltep Hapalep. He continued to think, "Using magic is also not suitable. Purple crystal magic has no effect on people of the White Wolf tribe." The crumbling walls were accompanied by Jin's persistent thoughts. "And if someone from the clan is sent to investigate Congealo, the guards will immediately detect traces of magic. If that happens, then my violation of a clan taboo will be exposed." A dazzling light, Jin's train of thought was still ongoing. "Then there is only one option left." While fighting, he thought, "Dark energy." Goltep Hapalep was attacked. He thought, "Release my sword." The battle was fierce. Goltep Hapalep praised sarcastically, "That's a good sword, you Runkandel brat." He continued, "It's not as good as your clan's famous black sword." And then Goltep Hapalep had to acknowledge Jin's strength. "But you are stronger than you look." Behind the smoke of the battle was Goltep Hapalep's terrifying roar. Jin gritted his teeth. "Remember the feeling of releasing your sword that night? It's over, you Runkandel brat." Goltep Hapalep's words emerged, "Along with your white sword." Goltep Hapalep's terrifying face appeared, "I will sacrifice you to Javier." Jin's gaze was extremely intense. "I have to remember it right now." Goltep Hapalep's panicked gaze. "Huh. Darkness engulfs everything." Goltep Hapalep panicked. "I can't see anything." The silhouette of a fighter appears in the darkness. Jin's sword was surrounded by a black aura along with his words. "I also didn't understand why my clan was famous for their black sword until recently I understood." Goltep Hapalep was ambushed. Jin slashed his body, shocking him. "What are you?" Jin was emotionless. "That was a good fight." The forest was quiet. The two fought until exhausted. Jin's eyes suddenly became extremely angry. He held his sword and rushed forward quickly. He knelt on the ground, surrounded by a dark atmosphere and criticism. "Useless, what can someone as weak as you do? What a fool, he doesn't understand his situation." You are the disgrace of the clan, even though born from the same mother, you are the biggest shame. Goltep Hapalep walked in front of Jin. What did I say, you damn brat? From the darkness his figure appeared with harsh curses. I told you that if you try to release your sword with such a lack of dark energy, you will pay the price, right? Ah, Goltep Hapalep thought, are you going to bite the dust after getting drunk on that dark energy? Get up, if you lose your mind, there's no cure. Jin was slowly pushing himself up. Goltep Hapalep continued to motivate Jin with harsh words. Don't you already know what to do? I, Jin thought to himself, release dark energy. As he recovered his strength, he said to himself, it's being swept away by the surrounding dark energy, so I can't release dark energy properly. I can't let it be swept away again. Let's try again. Jin told himself, calm down one more time again. Jin placed his hand on his chest, panting covered in sweat. He wondered, have I overcome it? The pain is gone. But that makes me worried there's nothing unusual about my body, but I feel like I'm full of dark energy. He slowly pushed himself up. It won't affect my movement, so I need to get Mesa back. Suddenly there was a strange noise. Jin exclaimed, who's there? Sember peeked out with a scared face and stammered, please don't, please don't kill me. Jin calmly asked, huh? Are you Congello? So there are a few survivors, huh? Sember quickly denied, no I'm not. Blonde Sember was scared, raised both hands to the sky, and kept explaining. I am Sember Vin, of the Vin clan in the Jin Kingdom. Jin was surprised. Ah, it's you. I'm Jin Run Candle. I was ordered to find you. Sember was so happy he cried, Run Candle, oh my god, it's a Run Candle, I'm alive. Jin thought to himself, I completely forgot about this because of Congello. I feel a little guilty because he's so happy.